matching their speed. Defenses have to play back, as we saw with a single. Then it gives Dion the chance to start running. The Reds are the best turf team in the National League, a very dominant team at home. Dion steals third, ball gets away, creates the run. They're going to be very tough to beat at home if they can stay healthy.
Maybe the word for the Reds this season, creates. They create runs. 11 runs, ties a record for opening day, and typical Rockies road game. Ritz gets knocked around like a piñata. Rockies hit a couple of home runs, make it close, but ultimately lose big. Larkin and Dion each stole 2 bases in this game. Well, pretty good little rivalry. Yanks and Mariners, highlighted 2 years ago by that wild playoff series, and supported by the fact that the Yankees just don't win very much at the Kingdome. They get a little break on opening day. No Randy Johnson. Chris Berman and Joe Morgan will call the game. Boomer?
Thanks. The air of anticipation hanging here in the Kingdome. The defending champion Yankees against the would-be champion Seattle Mariners. We asked both managers, opening night, a little different, isn't it?
Well, the games count now. Spring training was great. We had great weather. But what excites me now is it's going out to defend the crown. I mean, we know we're good. I mean, we're not saying we're going to win this thing.
I saw Mr. Steinbrenner a few times this winter, and I was very happy for George and for the Yankee organization. Now, do I enjoy beating the Yankees as a manager? You're damn right I do.
And our opening night is Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. And Joe, we heard Lou Piniella talk about it. Really, the last 2.5 years, this Yankees-Mariners rivalry is one of the hottest in all of baseball. A lot of expectations about the Mariners. A lot of it circles around Randy Johnson, but there's more pitching now than just him.
Well, last year when Randy Johnson went down, they didn't know who their number 2 starter was. This year they've got 4 good starters. They've got Jeff Osoro, who's going tonight. They've got Jamie Moyer. They've got Scott Sanders, and then they have Dennis Martinez. So if anything happens to Randy Johnson, if he's not able to go all year this year, they will be in good shape.
They're deeper, but maybe not as deep as the New York Yankees. They tip it off in just a little while. Take it back to the studio.
All right, fellas, thank you. We'll see you in about 14 minutes. And you talk about the Yankee staff, Peter. Last year, the recipe was simple. Get it to Rivera, get it to Wetler. A little different maybe this year.
But they don't need Rivera as much because their 5 starters are going to give them a lot more innings in the middle, so that middle relief isn't going to be as important, just as the contrast of that Mariners staff with the innings are going to make it a lot easier for Charlton and Ayala.
And the fact is, you talk about that Yankee bullpen. Graham Lloyd has been absolutely outstanding. So has, in a game that was ultimately the starting lineup, Jose Vizcaíno-Stro in the dirt, and look at Snow go down and get it.
They found out right away how many errors this guy's going to save. Changes it for Kent, Vizcaíno, and Miller.
The winds caused many problems. Jose Guillen's fly ball is misjudged and ultimately dropped by Glenn Allen Hill in right. San Francisco will do that to you. Pirates up 2-1. Kevin Elster to right center. Well, the Rangers missed that bat. Off Tavares. Al Martin, Mark Johnson score 4-2 Bucks. Wait a minute. The Pirates go on and win by a final score of 5-2.
Shortstop, number 3, Alex Rodriguez. Batting third, center fielder, number 24, Ken Griffey.
Party in Seattle continues shortly. Meantime, the team they were battling last year, the Texas Rangers. Gonzalez is out. Will Clark, broken finger. Clark's replacement is Lee Stevens. Get out of here off Ben McDonald, a 3-run shot. 3-0 Rangers. Top of the second, 2 on, 2 down. And Ken Hill, Mike, a triple header here on opening day on ESPN. Many thought this guy was the MVP, not only of the Yanks, but of the league. Bernie's back.
Jack, would you do me the honor?
Shannon's chat room.
Gone. He hit the first RBI of night. For the Marlins, and the Padres went back to back to.
And Jason Schmidt isn't going to be that bad. Eric's is going to be.
Thank you. Welcome to the Kingdome in Seattle, where 57,000 plus are on hand to welcome their Seattle Mariners as they open up against the world champion New York Yankees. Last season was magical for baseball's most storied franchise as they captured their first world championship in 18 years. The New York Yankees redefined heart, literally and figuratively. Their World Series comeback highlighted a season in which the Yankees gave new meaning to the word comeback. Doc Gooden from baseball exile, Darryl Strawberry from the wheat fields of St. Paul, David Cone from career-threatening surgery. In the playoffs against Texas, Bernie Williams was a one-man wrecking crew. And then the most remarkable of them all, as they snatched the World Series from the clutches of the Braves. 2 seasons ago, it was the Mariners who played comeback in the postseason against the Yankees. Now it's 1997, and the Mariners will unleash their own version of Murderer's Row. Last year, they scored more runs than anyone in almost half a century. Can they make the quantum leap in 97? The Yankees and Mariners on ESPN's opening night. An air of anticipation in the air in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. A nice spring day, but 57,000 plus have left that nice day and come indoors here to the Kingdome to cheer on their Seattle Mariners. Maybe this is the year. Can they dream the Mariners can make it to the World Series? We'll see. There's no better atmosphere when the Kingdome is loud and rocking. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman along with Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. So glad you could be with us on this trilogy of opening night. I don't know, I've already worked up a lather myself, Joe, on opening night. So many veterans. I know you're excited. Veteran player, though. Is this old hat or are they jittery, too?
Opening day is always special. Everyone has butterflies. Every player down there today.
You know what's great about opening day is that all the teams feel that they can be there at the end of October in the World Series. Well, bad news for the 27 other teams other than the Yankees who won it last year. Joe Torre says the Yankees have come north with a better club than they left last March. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree, and mainly because David Cone is healthy. He's 100%. He has a very new delivery that helps him throw harder, and they also know now they can count on Dwight Gooden. Andy Pettit has 1 more year experience, and they're also going to have Darryl Strawberry and Cecil Fielder for the entire season. That makes them a better team, but some of the other teams have improved as well.
You think you like this lineup here in Seattle? Let's see, 993 runs last year, the most any team has scored since 1950. And 2 through 5, Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey, Edgar Martinez, and Jay Buhner. Is this the most powerful lineup in baseball?
Well, last year the Baltimore Orioles hit more home runs, but for me, this is the most fun lineup to watch. They're exciting, they generate a lot of offense, and they score a lot of runs. I think this could be the best offense in baseball.
Well, David Cohn's assignment, should he choose to accept it, to shut down or at least hold in check the powerful Mariners. ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Embassy Suites Hotels. Reserve on the internet or call 1-800-EMBASSY. And by Advil. No non-prescription pain reliever has proven to work better than Advil. When we come back, it's Mariners newcomer Jeff Fassero on the hill, taking on slugger Bernie Williams and the world champion New York Yankees. There's this college team.
Everyone, welcome back to our continuing coverage of opening day for 1997, the back end of our triple header. Gary Miller with you, and let's see how it started in Skydome. Albert Bell and the White Sox, and he makes himself very much at home.
All right, Gary, thank you, and welcome back to the Kingdome. Jackie Robinson's daughter, Sharon Robinson, threw out the first pitch here a couple of moments ago, a very warm moment, threw it to Junior Griffey, a big hug. As this, of course, we celebrate the most significant events, not only in sports, but certainly in the United States. 50 years ago, a little later this month, April 15th to be exact, when Jackie Robinson righted a wrong and broke the color line, 1947. So Sharon was here, and that was a nice moment. The crowd waiting for the Mariners to take the field, and you touched that in the beginning, Joe. It's, boy, every other person is picking Seattle, 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 Seattle for the World Series. You think the players feel that?
Well, it's funny because Lou Piniella said, stop reading those magazines, and Ken Griffey Jr. says, hey, we're not reading them. You're the only one that's reading them and getting concerned. But I think that there are a lot of people feel like with the offense they had last year and what they've added to the pitching staff and Randy Johnson being back, they are one of the best teams in baseball.
Joe Torre, could there have been a more magical first season as skipper of the New York Yankees last year? I don't think so, and the smile says it all. He was calm through what everyone else perceived to be a storm last year, and his calm and professional, and I think a little bit of National League managing all played a role in why the Yankees won it last year. So did this lineup. Derek Jeter will lead off with Tim Raines on the DL. We'll develop that story. Wade Boggs, forget the 47 stitches over the eye 2 days ago. He's ready at third. Bernie Williams, blossoming star in center field. You saw him in the postseason against lefties like Fassero. Tremendous numbers. Cecil Fielder is the DH hitting cleanup. Tino Martinez got a warm ovation here. He played for the Mariners till last year. He's at first base. Paul O'Neill got booed. He was involved in a brawl last year. He's in right. Darryl Strawberry opens up in left field. Mariano Duncan had a great season, hitting over 340 last year at second base. And Joe Girardi, the catcher, hitting ninth against the left-hander, Jeff Fassero, and that was the Yankees lineup brought to you by GMC Sierra.
And there you get a look at Jeff Fassero. I think he is one of the key additions to this Mariner lineup. And there you see his numbers last year. He is a legitimate big league pitcher. He could be a #1 starter on a lot of staffs. Good fastball and an excellent slider and a splitter. There you see the numbers. Fewer hits than innings pitched, only 55 bases on balls. And the defense that will be behind Fassero tonight is, if you have to be strong up the middle to win a championship, and the Seattle Mariners are very strong up the middle. Alex Rodriguez and Ken Griffey Jr., two of the best with the glove at their position. And Joey Cora, a very good short second baseman. He has really improved over the last couple of years.
Well, this is the shortstop's year. In '95, of course, all eyes were on Cal. He's a third baseman now. He's old news. And these two guys here, Derek Jeter to lead it off, Rookie of the Year in the American League, and Alex Rodriguez, the batting champion of the Seattle Mariners at shortstop. He hits second for his squad. Two of them are good friends. There's a great article in Sports Illustrated about the two of them. I talked to Alex before the game. He said, you know what? The best thing about it, we are good friends, and maybe this is good. They're all excited about baseball. Maybe this is, we're excited about the game. And, boy, these are the guys you want to hang your hat on as we approach the next century, Joe. We're underway in Seattle. Fassero on the inside corner with a strike, and he will work inside. And
that's the key to being successful as a left-hander. Keeping the right-handed hitters honest inside and tailing the fastball away. But he will come inside with a good slider as he threw a fastball there. There's the slider right there. It was interesting, we talked about Jeter assuming the role of leadoff man now. He had a 370 on-base percentage last year. Pretty good. You know, 375 and above is considered, you know, the top echelon. But if he moves up to the leadoff spot, I think he's going to have to make some changes in his approach to hitting.
Although Joe Torre says he doesn't want him to change a thing. There's a fastball up top, too, with 1 and 2. He said, I want him to do the same thing.
Right.
He's on his own if he gets on. Not as if he's, you know, Ricky Henderson on the base paths, but says, I don't want him to change anything. But hitting first.
You have to.
Right. Inside 2 and 2.
And when you move in the order, it's more of a mental change than anything else. When you hit first and then they drop you to second, you have a different mindset. They drop you to third, it's even more different. And then you move to cleanup, and you just have to be a power hitter. You have to drive and run. So Derek Jeter's been around baseball long enough to know that if you're a leadoff man, you're expected to get on base.
Well, he hit 2, he hit 6, he hit 7, he hit 8, he hit 9 last year, so he's seen most of the slots. So after 0 and 2, Jeter has waited out Pissarro to 3 and 2.
And this is exactly what you want from your leadoff hitter. Not necessarily to go up there taking a lot of pitches, but you want to have him get deep in the count so all the hitters on the bench will be able to see how good the guy's fastball is today, how good his slider is, and his other pitches.
Jeter fouls it up. Wade Boggs playing close attention. Of course, he gets his money's worth when he's in the batter's box, too. Well, there's the view. 57,000 plus. A sellout tonight, a sellout Saturday night. Going to be close to a sellout tomorrow night for Game 2 of this 2-game set. Randy Johnson goes Friday night against the Red Sox, and now that the fans are aware of that, that may be a sellout also. So quite a week for baseball here in Seattle. They'll do it again at 3 and 2. You know, when the Yankees headed north last year, Joe, one of the many questions, not a big question, but remember they still had Tony Fernandez till he got hurt. Was Jeter good enough to be an everyday shortstop? I mean, obviously he answered that question. So there's one big difference in this team now from 12 months ago. Ground ball to his opposite, Rodriguez. To Paul Sorrento. 1 down to the Yankee first.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on Jeff Pissarro. And I think you'll see why he has been successful over the last couple of years, because he will throw strikes. Excellent control there, you see, with the 3 pitches, sinker, slider, and the splitter. I think his slider is really underrated. Great pickoff move.
Inside to Wade Boggs. Of course, now, here's the big question. Pissarro, National League pitcher. Yes, in this day and age, players go back and forth a little more often than before, a lot more often, but still, advantage Pissarro or advantage Yankees because he doesn't know them. Base hit by Wade Boggs, who is now 2 shy of 2,700 in his career.
Well, I think any time you have not seen the pitcher, I think the advantage goes to the pitcher. But you have a lot of hitters on the Yankees who are veteran hitters like Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs sees the ball and he attacks it. See that? He gets a fastball in the inner half of the plate, pulls it in the hole. I mean, a lot of times, the first time around, you're going to see the ball and then attack it. If he pitches you a certain way, then you try to adjust. But before that, you're just going up to get a good pitch to hit, so it doesn't really matter if you've seen the pitcher before or not. But I think the advantage normally goes to the pitcher if you do not know each other.
Well, here's one of the many heroes for the Yankees, certainly in the postseason last year. He's the best player in baseball that nobody knows about, Bernie Williams. You agree, Joe?
Especially from the right side.
Yep. He had homers from both sides in that Game 4 against Texas. The second time he's done it in the postseason, he's the only one to do it in the postseason, hitting both sides, homers from both sides of the plate in the same game. So he's done it twice. In one of those Mariner games the year before. So Bernie's numbers, 102 RBIs. You mentioned Pissarro has a very good move, although Boggs is not the type of guy that's going to go anywhere. But postseason, we talked about it. I mean, can you do much better than Bernie Williams, and of course the ALCS MVP? And the reason that's watered down is because he actually hit 474 against the Orioles, 467 against Texas. My goodness, he was human against the Braves. He hit close to 500 in the 2 postseason series of the American League. Broken bat. This will drop in right center field. Carries pretty well. Boggs to third. Bernie into second base. It's a double. Runners at second and third with 1 out.
Well, Pissarro is behind in the count 2-0, and he gets the fastball up. This is not the way that he likes to pitch. He only likes to go up when he's ahead of the count. But it's 2-0, and watch, you'll see this pitch is up and out over the plate, and that's where Bernie Williams likes it. He hammers that ball in the right center field. Nice hustle by Bernie Williams, because Griffey Jr. made a good cutoff and throw to second base, but the speed of Bernie Williams gets him a double.
Well, that's another thing. You don't think of Bernie Williams as a fast player. I mean, he doesn't have baseball speed, but he is a natural athlete. Was a great high school track star growing up. Won gold medals in international competition when he was 15. Long legs. I mean, Joe Torre says he's just beginning to learn the game. It's scary. Well, he knows the game. Cecil Fielder made, I would say, more than just a splash, as Cecil would, going into a pool, with his demand to be traded, and then he pulled it back 1 minute before the deadline.
I happen to think it was very smart of him to pull it back.
Yes.
Because I think he gets an opportunity now to show that he's still the Cecil Fielder of old. I mean, since 1990, when he hit 51 home runs in 91, he's averaged like 37 home runs a year. So, I mean, this guy has been just a power hitter that you're looking for to put in the middle of your lineup.
Strike two, so Pissarro had 0-2. I think a lot of Yankee fans, they loved when Cecil came over. And, you know, he can still play first base. He's going to play some. Remember, he had a great defensive game in one of those World Series games in Atlanta. Yankee fans just didn't understand. He brought you here from Detroit. You had a World Series team. Okay, you didn't play as much as you wanted. Why all the griping? But after a few 500-foot home runs, all will be forgotten. Ooh, that one almost hit the backstop.
One of the things I learned about Cecil Fielder in the postseason last year is that he is a smart hitter. He's a thinking man's hitter. He took a lot of pitches to right field in clutch situations. I think he got the most key hit for them in the playoffs last year, and that was against the Texas Rangers, when he singled the right field in Texas to drive in the run that tied the ball game, and they ultimately won that ball game. But I think he's learned and he's shown that he can go the other way.
Thinking about going the other way, but laid off a pitch just outside of the strike zone. So the count is 2-2 with Wade Boggs at third base and Bernie Williams, who doubled at second. One out, just underway here in Seattle. It's a good thing that most of the American League games are scheduled in domes. I know Baltimore, we lost that game to high winds, but the weather in the Northeast, I'm glad everyone's lit a fire tonight and has joined us. The Yankees and the Mariners. Tinsley, you saw way deep in left. A line drive to right field. The Buter has a good arm. Here comes Boggs. Gets through to Wilson. The Yankees are up 1-0.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. Cecil Fielder, after falling behind in the count, Pissarro tried to get him to chase a pitch out of the strike zone. He wouldn't do so. But watch, this is not the Cecil Fielder that people think about when they see him hit. This is a fastball away. Now watch what he does. You'll see him make a conscious effort to go the other way. Look at that. He's going to right field all the way, and he drives the ball deep enough to get the run home. That is what I was talking about when I say he's a thinking man's hitter. He's a lot smarter than people think. He's not just a big free swinger up there.
So Cecil gives the Yankees a lead. Bernie Williams moved up to third base. So with two out, Tino Martinez, in a move of show of class by these Seattle Mariners fans, of course, on opening night, everybody introduced. They gave Tino a long ovation as he was introduced as a member of the Yankees. Of course, traded away in the offseason a year ago, but they still love him up here. He was one of their young guns. Had a 100 RBI season for him before he was traded away. But of course, delivered big time for the Yankees last year and had a torrid spring in Florida. Tuno is Pissarro. There you go. I mean, he got to a slow start the first 3-4 weeks of the Yankees, and of course, everything needed to be done in a New York minute. The fans were on him. He had a big 3-run home run in late April in a game we did, I believe it was against Cleveland. They gave a big standing O, and you saw 100-plus RBIs, and that's exactly the player the Yankees traded.
It's interesting there. Pissarro was behind in the count 2-0, and he went with a fastball to Martinez. And I don't think he has a good feel for his slider yet. I think that's the important pitch for him in this ball game tonight, and so far he has not been able to throw it exactly where he has wanted to.
Rodriguez is outside. Count is 3-1. Drew Coble working the plate tonight. Tim McClellan, the ump at first. Mark Johnson at second. Gary Cedarstrom is at third base. Pitches already, Joe. Well, he's got jitters too, even though he's opened 3 times before for the Expos. There's a strike in there and a full count.
And there's a 3-1 slider. I expected him to throw 2-0. I didn't expect him to give in to Martinez 2-0 with another left-handed hitter, Paul O'Neill, on deck.
The tag. Williams stranded at third, but the Yankees do strike for 1 run. That's not much against the Mariners, but David Cone has something to work with against Rodriguez, Griffey, and the M's.
There's an aroma, really, to opening day of feel that nothing else in sports compares to. The fans feel it, the players feel it. It's basically good old-fashioned butterflies.
You know, the whole team is nervous right now. You just can't help but have butterflies and some jitters on opening night. You know, you go through spring training and games don't count. Then you come
Another step.
chance in the first game. Yeah, sure, we're all a little nervous.
Who's your favorite player?
A-Rod.
Why?
He's just good.
Yeah, that he is good. We should also mention it's good riddance that Jerry Green, Oregon's basketball coach, is out. He's taken the head job at the University of Tennessee. We'll have more on that, plus the Blazers coming up at 6 o'clock in sports. The Mariners and the Yankees highlights tonight in the news channel at 11, plus a live shot at 6.
Well, look, this is the best club I've come north with, certainly as a Mariner manager, and he raised some eyebrows, at least in print. I didn't hear him say it to me when he said, might be coming north a better squad than my 1990 Reds, who, of course, got off to a jackrabbit start and won the World Series. Here is the Mariner lineup, brought to you by GMC Sierra. Joey Albacora, platoon at second base, will lead off. Alex Rodriguez, the batting champ at shortstop. Ken Griffey Jr., no introduction needed at center field. Edgar Martinez, 2-time batting champ, cleanup and DH. Jay Ferris Buhner, he had 40-plus home runs in right field. Paul Veal Sorrento, the platoon at first, will go against the righty Cone. Dan Wilson, one of the unsung players in this game, batting 7th behind the plate. Russ Davis back from leg injury, hitting 8th at third base. Lee Tinsley will platoon with Amaral in left field. The Red Sox last year, Mariner this year, he will hit 9th. Going up against the winner of the Cy Young in 1994, and a man with a lot of heart, certainly, David Cone.
Yeah, he is a very tough competitor. What he did this spring was to change his motion a little bit so that he takes his hands above his head, and he feels like he's throwing harder now than he has the last 5 years. And in fact, he uses his fastball, the four-seam fastball, the riding fastball more than he has lately. He was sinking the ball a lot more, throwing a slider and a change and a splitter, but he still comes back now with the good fastball. We talked about being strong up the middle. Well, the Yankees are the same way. They have Derek Jeter at shortstop and Bernie Williams in center field, 2 excellent glove men. And like the Mariners, second base, Duncan, not quite a Gold Glove winner, but a good player.
So Joey Cora steps in to open up the Mariners' offense, which they hope to have on full throttle for 162 games.
We looked at right there, we saw Joey Cora's on-base percentage, and that is .340. So his is less than Derek Jeter. So maybe Derek Jeter is more of a leadoff man than Joey Cora is.
Well, that is a question here, and they did pick up Brent Gates late in spring training from Oakland. He'll platoon with Cora at second, or sometimes Gates at third, Cora at second. They don't have a bona fide leadoff man. There was talk of Ricky Henderson,
right?
But if they couldn't afford or it didn't work out, and at least for now, Ricky is not here. He's in San Diego.
Ricky went big fly today, hit a home run.
Did he?
Bring them back. They were down in that ball game, and he hit a home run. Helped them to come back and win there in San Diego.
Well, he can go long ball from that leadoff spot. No one's hit more. He's leaving everyone in the dust for that record. Cone, a little up top again. It's 3-1. I mean, I know you're going to tell us about the difference in his motion. He feels that his release point, as I understand it, right, coming from over his head, he's more consistent, although maybe he too. Opening day jitters, although, like Pissarro, this is David Cone's 4th opening day start, including last year as a Yankee. So he walks Cora to start it off, not what he had in mind with Rodriguez, Griffey, Martinez, and Buhner coming up. Pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre. Hoping his ace can settle down.
Are those numbers impressive or what?
I was going to say, what didn't he do last year?
Well, the only thing he didn't do was hit well down the stretch. He hit 275 after the All-Star break. He was hitting well over 370 most of the season.
Lost the MVP vote to Juan Gonzalez by 3, the closest in the American League since 1960 balloting. And here's 2 through 5. Joe, I mean, I think we need an abacus to figure this out.
Well, what
production from these guys.
What that really tells you is you better get Joey Cora out. And they did not do that. You cannot afford to walk anyone before these 4 hitters come out.
There's 500 RBIs there, these 4 guys.
That's why I say, to me, they're the most exciting offense to watch, because not only do they hit for power, they hit doubles, triples, and they will steal a few bases.
Griffey and Buhner with the 93 home runs between them. That's what, the time for third best total ever.
It seems to me that Cone, you know, he's struggling with the fastball. It was high, so he went to a couple of sliders just to try to get in better rhythm, and he's missed away with the slider.
Tough pitch to Rodriguez. Took it for a strike. It's 2-1. Last year, David Cone. Surgery for an aneurysm. I mean, we're not talking about his baseball career. We're talking about altering his life at this point. Comes back and pitched that 7-inning, if you will, no-hitter at Oakland on Labor Day, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, just a gutty performance. He did not pitch well in the division series start in the ALCS, but that gutty Game 3 performance in the World Series got the Yankees back on track. They swept those 3 games in Atlanta, and everything changed. Just... goodness, you could write a book about the season, which Joe Torre did.
You could see the frustration there on Cone's face after he threw that pitch. It was up in the strike zone. He was lucky to get that one back. And you can see he is a little frustrated with himself and his rhythm out there, because he knows that he can't make a lot of mistakes with these hitters, but he made one there and he got away with it.
As you take a look at the other scores, exciting game early on. The White Sox down 5-2, win it. Mets had the lead, but the Pods come back big time. That one missed.
Well, David Cone wants to know where it missed.
Yeah.
It looked like a pretty good pitch, but that shows the discipline that Rodriguez has, though. I mean, a lot of young players would have chased that breaking ball, especially with 2 strikes. He was able to lay off of it.
Schilling and Batalico combining in a shutout for the Phils at L.A. 2 hits. Keep you posted. Gary in the studio. Cora on the move, and Rodriguez bounces it back. We'll do it again.
Lou Piniella likes to put his runners in motion because most of his hitters will make contact. Lou Piniella's a very aggressive manager. He was that way as a hitter, and I like the way that he plays the game. And he's not going to sit back and just wait for the 3-run homer. He's going to put guys in motion, and that's why I say I like this offense. They'll hit some doubles with runners moving and score. They don't have to hit the ball out of the ballpark all the time just to score runs.
Cora on the move again. Strike 3, and a gun by Joe Girardi. So a double play for the Yankees. A call strike 3 and a Joe Girardi gun out of Joey Cora. My goodness.
That was an excellent pitch there by David Cone, the best fastball that he's thrown, and he got it right on the outside corner. Not much that Alex Rodriguez could do with this pitch. There you see Cora. He's not supposed to be stealing. He's just running, and he's supposed to be protected by Rodriguez. But a good pitch from Cone, nice throw from Girardi, and it's a double play.
Ken Griffey Jr. 49 home runs last year despite missing 20 games. Broken hamate bone. Boy, since when is 140 RBIs 5th in the league, by the way? To throw out all the reference points to the new numbers versus the old, Joe. And by the way, when is 49 home runs 3rd in the league? You know?
When Brady Anderson Anderson is in that league.
Yes.
And Mark McGuire.
Good pitch to Griffey there, 1-2.
See what a double play will do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's making much better pitches than he was before the double play. Everything is down now so far to Griffey.
Griffey wanted me to say hello to his dad. Big game for them, the Reds. Deion Sanders. Busy day for him. Aboard the base pass. Willie Green a home run. The Reds with double digits. They win at home in the traditional opener against Colorado. You know, it's hard to believe, but this is Ken Griffey's 9th year in the majors, isn't it? I mean, he's still young. You figure he's 23 or something. Look at those numbers. Add up his, he's 238 home runs already. He's 27 years old. He's halfway to the vaunted 500 mark. Oh, you can't just say that and assume that, okay, 238 so far. Let's tack on another 260. Well, maybe make it 259. Back. Score! Maybe we can assume he's going to hit 500 home runs. My goodness. And the Mariners have knotted it up in a big way.
Well, I think he just said hello to his father himself. I tell you what, David Cone made a couple of good pitches, breaking balls down. Then he gets the fastball up and out over the plate, and Ken Griffey Jr. just puts a charge into it. You cannot make many mistakes. He made a mistake with Rodriguez and got away with it, but Ken Griffey Jr. made him pay on this one.
We're just remarking how settled down Cone was.
Well, he had gotten the first 2 pitches down, and he seemed like he had regained his composure, and he did, but then he tried to, I think that fastball was meant to be up and in, and he got it up and out over the plate.
I think the Yankees shaking their boots every time they see Edgar Martinez at the plate. I mean, if you talk about a guy that was a one-man wrecking crew, especially in that memorable divisional series in '95. What did he hit? Over 500 in that series against the Yankees. I mean, they couldn't stop him. Yeah, 571, 12 for 21. Had the 7 RBI game in Game 4, the 3-run and the grand slam home run. And then, of course, in the 11th inning, the 2-run double that sent the Mariners onto the ALCS. Scoring Cora and Griffey, one of the best scenes I've ever seen in baseball, with arguably, if not the best, one of the best players on first, scoring to put your team ahead in extra innings, 5th game, playoffs, double down the line. I mean, it was just a Griffey, the look on his face between 2nd and 3rd when he knew he was coming home. That was baseball right there.
When I talked to Griffey about that, he said he wasn't going to stop even if the coach would have tried to stop him.
I didn't think
that he was going to score.
Count is full to Edgar Martinez. Ground ball to Duncan at second. Over to Tino Martinez. And the Mariners are gone, but Ken Griffey Jr. put 57,000 folks on their feet. Goodbye. After 1-1.
What's on Paragon?
Back at the Kingdome, we've had some indoor fireworks, courtesy of that man, Junior Griffey. We were tied at 1 as we hit the top of the 2nd inning. A little booing for the batter, Paul O'Neill, who it seems like once a series with the Yankees, there's a pitch inside or maybe plunks him, or that's maybe a hello from his old manager, Lou Piniella in Cincinnati, or what. But when they had it here last year, a brawl ensued involving John Marzano, the catcher that night, behind the plate, and O'Neill, and that was the Yankees' last trip here to the Kingdom. That's the blues for O'Neill. He's kind of the quote enemy of the Yankees, at least in the eyes of the Mariner fans.
Well, since the playoff a couple of years ago, I think this rivalry has just continued to grow. And don't forget, Piniella did have O'Neill in Cincinnati. He also was a former Yankee. So there, I mean, a lot of things point to, you know, both teams being a little bit upset with each other. I mean, the Yankees have to be upset with the way they lost, you know, to the Mariners in the playoffs. And then I think last year the Mariners have to be a little bit upset because they didn't make it to the playoffs. So, you know, it's going to be a rivalry that's going to, I think, intensify over the years.
Well, certainly with the two teams as good as any, along with Cleveland, etc., to favor to get to the World Series. It will be a rivalry coast to coast. Facero knocks it down. He's spending time with Cerrito. And O'Neill is gone. One out. Darryl Strawberry coming up.
I'm going to try to show you why Ken Griffey Jr. is such a great home run hitter. He does not have to drop his back shoulder. He doesn't have to lift the ball. He has such a beautiful swing that... Now watch where on contact. We're going to freeze it on contact. I'm going to show you something here. You talk about balance. Look at this balance. You know, you find a lot of hitters with their heads back here leaning back. But if you watch Ken Griffey Jr., he has almost a perfect swing. And that's why Ted Williams says if he was starting a team, Ken Griffey Jr. would be the first guy he would choose.
Facero ahead of Strawberry 0-1. Did he hold? Docero 0-2. Joe, I don't get to work with the Sunday night gadgets as much. You know, this is usually John Miller's post. I just in our little cottage industry on Wednesday night. But this telestrator, you just drew that with your finger. I mean, you're like Yoda. I mean, it's very impressive. You don't have any, you know, we're really advanced here on Sunday night baseball. Facero advances 3 pitches past Strawberry, and he'll sit down.
That's the Facero that most left-handers will fear. He ran a couple of pitches in on Darryl, and the final pitch is a slider low and away. Now watch this pitch. Breaking down and off the plate. Not much Darryl could do with it. He got Darryl moving by throwing a couple of pitches off the plate inside.
So Darryl will play against tough lefties like Facero. I mean, that's going to be one of the gambles, at least as we start the season, that Joe Torre is going to make. Of course, Tim Raines on the DL. This is Mariano Duncan, whose .340 season last year at second base rates with everything else, the superlatives that happened to the Yankees last year. I mean, they got him just for a little bit of insurance. He ends up hitting .340. Hits this one pretty well to left center. Griffey won't get this one. One hopper over the wall. A double for Duncan. Second double in the game for the Yankees.
Mariano Duncan has always been a good offensive player. He's always been a good hitter. He used to be a switch hitter, but his problem has always been finding a spot defensively. He's never been a great defensive player, but he has always been a good hitter. He attacks the pitches all the time. It looks like the pitch is over the middle of the plate. He pulls it to left center field, but he goes up there hacking. Very rarely will he take the first pitch.
Well, Duncan, like the man at the plate now, Joe Girardi, someone who knows a little bit more about Facero than some of the other Yankees in the lineup, having played a majority of his career, almost all his career, in the National League, as did Girardi, who was 7 for 20 against Facero in the National League. .350 batting average playing as a Cub and a Rocky. Duncan at second. 2 out. I talked to Facero yesterday, Joe, and so what difference do you expect as a pitcher here in this league? He wasn't sure that the strike zone would be that different, although he did say that, yeah, maybe, you know, some of my low pitches won't be strikes here. I mean, I guess he's going to have to feel his way. Do you think there's as much difference as we all talk about in the strike zone between leagues?
I don't think there's as much difference as there used to be. In the past, when the American League umpires used the chest protectors outside, they called the high pitch and couldn't get down on the low pitch. In the National League, they had the chest protector inside, so they could see the low pitch. Now that both umpires are using the inside protectors, I don't think there's that much difference.
There's much difference in leagues there. A high heater is a high heater. Wow.
Well, the hitters establish the strike zone anyway. If you do not swing at these pitches up and out of the strike zone, the umpires certainly are not going to call them strikes. Or if you do not swing at the pitches that are low out of the strike zone, they're not going to call them strikes. So I think the hitters are the ones that really establish the strike zone, and the pitchers just try to pitch around that strike zone.
Play by Wilson, and a ball in the dirt inside to keep Duncan at second base. somebody that, again, I don't want to quite say he's with Bernie Williams yet. Dan Wilson is another unknown budding star in this game. A 3-homer game early last year, a lot of home runs. We're calling him Hack Wilson. The way he was hitting him out. Very good defensive catcher. One of the first moves Lou Piniella made when he got the job up here. Wilson was in the Cincinnati system behind Oliver. Made a trade to get him, the Boone trade. This ball misses inside, 2-2. We're enjoying our new display of where the runners are and the count and the miles an hour and everything you want right in that box to the left. Joe, we're almost superfluous.
There you go. Computer's going to make us obsolete again.
Don't get me started on that subject. Again, a good play by Wilson. I'm still on at the stop sign on the on-ramp to the information highway.
One thing to remember that coming out of spring training, most of the time, hitters are ahead of the pitchers, meaning that the pitchers have not thrown enough innings where they have complete control of all their pitches and they have confidence to throw any pitch at any time. I think that's why you see a lot of hitters get off to great starts, because pitchers are really not on their game yet.
Little sawed-off shot behind second base. It'll bounce in. Duncan running with 2 outs will score. So Girardi hanging in, and on 3-2, plunks one. And the Yankees have regained the lead, 2-1.
And that's pitch is similar to the mistake that Cone made to Griffey, only Griffey hit it a lot farther. But here's the point. This is a fastball up. It jams him. If this pitch is down, that is not a base hit. See, he jammed Girardi, but because it's up, he's able to hit a little flare over the infield. If that pitch is not up high, it's a little ground ball or a little pop-up to the infielders. And that's what I'm talking about, not having complete control of all your pitches.
So second inning, here's the second look at Derek Jeter. He restarted the year hitting 9th for much of the first half of the season. So for him to get up twice in 2 innings, I mean, compared to April last year, this is tremendous. I mean, really hitting leadoff the majority of the year and hitting at the bottom of the order. Could add, what, 100 at-bats? Maybe even more.
This experiment is going to last if Jeter continues to play well at the top, hit well, and get on base. I think he's going to decide the fate of Tim Raines. I mean, because without Jeter hitting leadoff, they're not going to have a leadoff hitter. And that's where Tim Raines will come in. If they feel Jeter can handle it, I'm not sure that Tim Raines is going to be around very long.
Well, as it was explained to me before the game, Joe, even if Raines is here, there will be times that Raines is going to play instead of Strawberry. If Raines, Boggs, and Jeter are in the lineup, and Timmy in uniform but on the DL, if they're all in the lineup, Jeter may move down to 7-8. As Boggs is the 2-hitter, Raines would lead off. So I don't think anyone's going to be that. With Raines around, they may be shifting some slots in the batting order, and they'll see how the first couple of months plays. As Joe Torre says, things always work out. Girardi at second base. Here's that move you talked about with Facero, and Girardi is gone, but not until his little plunker gives the Yankees a 2-1 lead.
Incredible.
Bottom of the second inning, Jeff Facero mopping his brow, says, hey, I'm counting on getting... Well, he did make the great pickoff move here, Joe.
Let's watch his right leg. If that right leg goes behind the rubber, he has to go to the plate. This is just a bad read by Girardi. You see, he's on his way right now. He was going on his first move, and therefore he's picked off very easily. You have to be able to read Facero, and you have to wait a little longer. You can't just take off on his first move, and that's what Girardi did there.
Jay Buhner looked at strike one from David Cone. Saws this one back. It's 0-2. Well, they will later this summer have Buzz Cut Night 4 here in Seattle. You cut your hair or get the haircuts like Jay Buhner, you get in at a discounted rate, or very scary promotion, Joe. But it's big. That face is baseball. Made the All-Star team last year. Big campaigning by Champaign headquarters. Baseball tonight. Former teammate Harold Reynolds. Harry is looking in tonight. Say hello to my brethren at baseball tonight, Carl and Gary and Peter and Harold. And there's the heater that we know from David Cohn. Had a pop that looked like it was more than 87 miles an hour, Joe.
Well, it's a fastball up and out of the strike zone. If you get ahead of the hitters, you can get away with this. As you see, that pitch is up and out of the strike zone. We talked about the change that David Cohn has made, and we will show you when we get an opportunity. But the one thing to remember, it's more psychological, really, than it is mechanical. It's like a hitter. When a hitter struggles a little bit, and the hitting instructor says, move your hands back a little bit, and you hit a couple of line drives, all of a sudden you say, yeah, that's it. I believe in that, and you trust it. And I think that's what has happened to David Cohn. He felt like he was struggling a little bit to get on top of the fastball last year and to get the pop that he wanted on the fastball. So he and Mel, they really didn't change anything except start his hands and move them up above his head and to keep his body back a little bit. It's like a hitter. If your front shoulder goes out, you lose bat speed. And the same thing with a pitcher. If your front shoulder goes out or you start drifting toward the plate, you lose arm speed. So it's exactly the same for a hitter as it is for a pitcher.
2-1 to Paul Sorrento. Rips to right field. O'Neill's there. Boy, that one had hair on it, but O'Neill makes the play. They're 2 down, and let's bring in Gary Miller. Gary.
Hello to my Baseball Tonight brethren, Chris, and the team that the Yankees beat in the World Series last year. Chipper Jones and the Braves off to the lead in Houston. Chipper takes that high pitch from Shane Reynolds out of the yard, and that bomb tied it for John Smoltz at 1 apiece in the third. Back to you.
I will keep you updated on that game all night, will Gary, and of course the Detroit-Minnesota game, and this one, the 3 games going on this evening. 4 teams did not open today, actually 6 with the rain out, Kansas City and Baltimore, the wind out or whatever. A couple more openers tomorrow. We did not mean to leave out Baseball Tonight brethren Dave Soup Camp. So everybody on board here as we start the season. My goodness, is it our 8th season already at ESPN doing baseball?
Seems like it's maybe even a little longer than that.
Yeah, I know that, Joe. We're just trying to be diplomatic about it. 1-1 count to Dan Wilson. Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Last year in the playoffs was great. Wall-to-wall playoffs every day. Of course, we never knew where we were going to be. That's part of the beauty of baseball, huh?
I remember when we first started in this business, we were the electronic voice of Major League Baseball. Now we're just the voice of Major League Baseball.
Any comparison of any catcher comes to the teammate of yours, Johnny Bench, but Dan Wilson is kind of a straight, erect, his catching style is pretty much by the book, isn't it? I mean, he's a pretty solid defensive catcher.
Very good defensive catcher.
There's a good pitch by Cohn. Pair of strikeouts this inning, 3 through 2. We've played 2. 2-1 Yankees.
Joe Pesci.
Those are live human organs.
Back at the top of the third in Seattle for the opener between the Yankees and the Mariners. 2-1 New York after 2 innings. And pre-game Sharon Robinson, the middle of Jackie and Rachel Robinson's 3 children, the only daughter they had. And Sharon Robinson threw out the first pitch. And a reminder that Tuesday, April 15th, we are very pleased to present the Jackie Robinson 50th anniversary tribute. President Clinton expected to be on hand to make a special presentation to Rachel Robinson commemorating the 50th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking baseball's color line. Jackie Robinson 50th anniversary tribute Tuesday, April 15th. The Dodgers, his old team, are at the Mets, fittingly in New York, at 7:30 Eastern Time. It was the Boston Braves of the Brooklyn Dodgers, April 15th, 1947. That'll be a special night. I know how much it means to you, Joe. I mean, yes. I just hope the players today are understanding. I mean, a lot of them know, and a lot of them are actually learning right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of players will get an education this year because of what will be done to celebrate the 50th anniversary of his breaking the color barrier. And I'm looking forward. I'm going to be part of the April 15th broadcast, and I'm looking forward to that because, as you said, it will be special. And I hope a lot of people who noticed Sharon there, she looks just like her father.
No question.
Yeah.
We talked about that before the game. We talk about legends and heroes. There was one.
Yes.
Count is 2-2 to Derek Jeter, who was special baseball being used tonight, season, special 50th anniversary baseball commemorating the Jackie Robinson game, if you will. But so everyone in Major League Baseball on board with heritage, and that heritage is with a capital H. Jeter was up when Girardi was picked off between first and second base, so he gets another crack at it. Fastball up top, just misses inside. 3-2. You see all the scores.
There's Sharon, and you can see Jackie Robinson all over her face. She looks just like him. And his lovely wife, Rachel.
Chopped off. Pissarro will have to hurry. And Paul Sorrento, a rapier-like glove hand, makes the save at first. That's a tough play for first. The runner's coming down. You're making the pickup. You have a chance your glove might hit the runner's leg and the ball might pop loose. It's a hell of a play by Sorrento.
Well, it's a nice pitch by Pissarro, and then he makes a poor throw. But watch, he just kind of closes his eyes and comes up with it. Nice play there by Sorrento. And I tell you what, I've been in that position. You do kind of close your eyes. Just make a swipe. Good play, though, by Sorrento. We've seen him make good plays. I think he's an underrated defensive first baseman.
Pleasant surprise for the Mariners. Wade Boggs doubled, rather singled in the first inning. And this is Boggs' lifelong dream. I mean, the guy's won 5 batting titles. Joe, there it is. He's hitting 1,000. I mean, this is, you know, he was making a move toward 1,000 at one point in his career, although once you make that first out, tough to get it back.
Tough to get it back.
Told you now, 2 hits shy of career number 2,700. His career batting average of .333 is 20th all time. He used to be up there in like 5th. He was right around the Ted Williams zone at the .344 mark back when he was hitting in the 360s and winning batting titles for the Boston Red Sox. I mean, 20th all time is okay.
I would think so.
I mean, he's a perfectionist. Winning those titles in 83, 85, 86, 87, and 88.
See that bandage he has above his left eye? He was hit with a ground ball while taking, ground balls fielding practice. One jumped up and hit him above the eye. He had 47 stitches.
That was just Sunday.
Yes.
Well, he got hit above the other eye with a ground ball that didn't require stitches on Saturday in Atlanta. Here's the same play again. This time the shot is up high, and Sorrento makes the play. Expecting another glove save.
Well, we're seeing the real Jeff Pissarro here. We saw him jam Derek Jeter with a good slider on the inside, and we said that before the ballgame that he would pitch inside to the right-handed hitters and to the left-handers like Wade Boggs and Darryl Strawberry. Throws the slider away. See how Wade is bailing a little bit, and that slider's right on the outside corner. Nothing that Boggs could do with it, and a good pitch there from Pissarro.
4 assists already by Pissarro. So we can keep the ball banging down in front of you, especially with the AstroTurf. If you can throw the pitches like he does, you got to be able to feel it. Of course, Sorrento bailed him out on the 1 with Jeter. 4 assists here in the 3rd inning. Yeah, Bernie Williams, who doubled, is up.
I'm sure Pissarro said, hey, that's what he has a glove on for down there.
Yeah.
He's supposed to make the play. Of Pissarro now, as I mentioned, he's moving the ball around. That fastball is moving away from Bernie Williams. The Let's see what he does with this one, but he's moving the ball off the middle of the plate. Now he's coming in.
Center field. Griffey moves over. Now it's the right fielder, Buhner, that makes the play. And a 1-2-3 inning for Jeff Fassero. 2-1, New York.
You come to Home Depot, you want lawn garden.
14,000 plus feet, and there it is. And when the new stadium is built, which is right behind this one, they had the groundbreaking ceremonies in March. You'll be able to see that. On a clear day, the retractable roof will be back. You'll be able to see Mount Rainier for an afternoon game. You know, the United States has got some beautiful sights as Russell Davis swings and misses at strike one. Grand Canyon, I mean, you can make a long list, but I don't know. You'd be hard-pressed to top Mount Rainier. It's just natural beauty. If you've never been to the Pacific Northwest, it's one of the many reasons why you should. Here's another one. The Mariners hit home runs. Back, Russell Davis, who came over to these Mariners as part of the Tino Martinez trade a year ago from the Yankees. Question about his leg, no question about his back.
Well, it seems like when Cone gets in the groove, he's throwing well, but then there's a hanger right there. It looked like it was supposed to be a splitter, but it hangs right there in the middle of the plate, and Russell Davis puts a charge into it. That's another example of what I was talking about, the pitchers coming out of spring training not in complete control. He looked great in the second inning, and he comes out, and he doesn't have the same rhythm, and he makes a mistake. And again, I think that's because pitchers, you know, do not get enough innings in spring training to be as sharp as they're going to be 2 or 3 starts from now.
Played only 51 games last year and only the 5 home runs. Fractured the left fibula, ankle sprain, but he looked fine there. Here's Lee Tinsley in his first Mariner at bat, at least this year, and he grounds it out to Mariano Duncan.
Let's take a look at David Cone's delivery change. Not so much his motion, but his delivery. See his hands start down in 1996 on the left. His hands start down. He just kind of rotates his shoulders and throws. Now, in 1997, he's trying to stay back a little longer. See his hands go above. Now, I'm going to try to show you something. Look at his shoulder. This one, his shoulder's a little more closed here, a little more open here, and that's what he's trying to accomplish. Keep his shoulder closed like a hitter. You try to keep that front shoulder closed, and it gives you a little more confidence. You stay behind the ball a little bit longer. And as a hitter, you keep your front shoulder closed, and you see a lot of good hitters with that chin right out over their shoulder. And that's exactly what he's doing now, trying to do from a pitcher's perspective.
Joey Cora up for the second time this evening. Walked in the first and was gunned down on a strikeout, stolen base, gunned down by Joe Girardi, double play.
Take a look at his front shoulder. See how it's closed there, and now here he comes right there. He's trying to keep it closed a little longer, but I think he opened it a little quickly there. And when he opens it quickly, he actually pulls across the strike zone.
Cora will sit down for Cone, strikeout number 4 here in the third inning, and that'll bring up Alex Rodriguez, who struck out looking in the first inning.
Well, you see he's throwing 88 miles an hour, not really David Cone-like. You know, you think of David Cone, you think 90-plus miles an hour, but the most important thing is he still looks like he has good movement on his fastball. The ball is moving, which is important, which is more important, actually, than the speed. That's another important point right there, location. That was a good spot blowing away that he threw to Alex Rodriguez. When he stays out of the middle of the plate, he's been okay, but you have to stay out of the middle of the plate against these Mariner hitters. They will make you pay for mistakes.
gets Rodriguez to swing behind it. It's 0-2. Can we expect 36 homers, 358, 54 doubles, which led the league, 141 run scores, which led the league, 379 total bases, which led the league? Like, what can we legitimately expect from him this year?
I think the toughest thing to be right now is Alex Rodriguez, because you have maybe what is your career year in your second full season. Where do you go from there? I mean, the most difficult part of all this is he doesn't know how good he is. He doesn't know how good he can be.
There are the numbers, just some of them. You saw, we'll put this back up here. And I mean, the third best average by a shortstop ever.
I remember Tony Oliva won the batting title his first couple of years, and he hit high for a high average. And he basically had one bad year, and he said, there's only one place to go from the top, and that's down. And I guess that's the problem that Alex Rodriguez faces this year. Anything else?
The glove of Boggs. Jeter with the gun. Not in time.
He was out.
Jeter thought he was out. Here comes Joe Torre, who thought he was out.
I'm going to say he was out before I see the replay.
Jim McClellan is the umpire at first base, and Torre is debating it now.
But it's a base hit for Alex Rodriguez. But the speed helps. That's one of the reasons that he hits for a high average. If you don't feel the ball clean, he'll beat it out. It's hit sharply off the glove of Boggs. But watch what great position Jeter's in. Now he gets the ball, and he gets rid of it quickly. Good, strong, accurate throw across the diamond. And you'll see right there, I think he was out. And you see McClellan's making the call. Now we're not going to be able to see it there. Very, very close. But anytime you see Martinez and the shortstop, they can tell whether you're out or not, and they thought he was out.
That'll bring up Junior Griffey, homered to center field, his first time up. So instead of having Griffey lead off, Rodriguez at first, good 2 out.
And we'll see how David Cone chooses to pitch to Griffey this time. He starts him off with a splitter there that's down. In the past, first couple of years in the league, you could bust Griffey inside, you could jam him, and that was the way to pitch him. He's made adjustments. Now he's a much better middle of the plate in hitter than he was before.
That must be our microphone on the base. There's nothing sacred in. I feel like the KGB dropping microphones everywhere. You know, the lights and. I mean, we spy on everything here on ESPN Baseball. There's a pitch in the dirt. Rodriguez goes. Girardi had no shot. That'll go as a wild pitch. That wasn't even a 58-footer. That was about a 56-footer.
Well, I think he's made up his mind. He's going to throw him splitters, try to get the splitter away, and then throw the high fastball to get him out. He missed with the first splitter, and he comes with another one. And this one bounces also. The first one bounced. Good play there by Girardi the first time, but this one it bounces off his chest. And again, that's the speed of Rodriguez.
Count is 2-0 to Griffey. Inside 3-0 with the base open. He's not going to lay one over, although, as you know, from the proverbial fire to the frying pan to the oven to the microwave with this lineup.
But he does not give in. Makes a good pitch. Griffey went after that. Looked like it was another splitter down and in. And Griffey Jr. has decided that he was going to swing on this 3-0 pitch, and there you see down and in and a little bit off the plate. Slider.
He wanted to take the major league lead in home runs with that swing.
That's excellent location, though. That's where they used to be able to get Griffey out. Sliders in, fastballs in. And that was a good pitch there by David Cone. You see they're setting up inside, starts off on the plate inside and breaks off the plate. Now he can go away if he wants, but if you go out there and make a mistake, you can really get hurt. So, but you can also get hurt if you try to come inside and you don't get it inside. You see that Cone has been successful with him, but I think that most of his success came when he could pound him inside. And I don't think you can do that any longer.
For the major league lead, just to correct. Vinny Castilla hit a pair today at a losing cause for Colorado. So for the Rockies, if you're going to, even if they're going to lose, they're going to hit home. So we played one day, and we have a guy with 2 already.
And that was on the road.
Yeah.
The Rockies struggled a lot last year with their offense on the road.
Gets under this one. Does it have legs? Back to the wall is O'Neill. Gone! This just in. Ken Griffey's good. 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, and a 4-2 Mariner lead. Set up by the call at first base, which could have been out 3.
Well, the first time up, he made a mistake with a fastball up and out over the plate. This was not a mistake. It was a pretty good pitch. You have to give the hitter some credit. He had pounded Griffey inside, and then he tried to go away and down with a splitter, and Griffey got just enough of it to get it over the right field wall. Not a bad pitch from Cone.
But he's given up 2 homers to Griffey, and earlier in the inning, the leadoff homer to Russell Davis. So Cone has given up a homer to right, a homer to center to Griffey, and a homer to left by Davis. Which leads us to our next discussion, but with 2 outs, I won't get into it yet. 61 home runs. Him, several others. We'll get into it next inning. Could be the year, huh? I wouldn't be surprised, Joe. Edgar Martinez, who almost set a major league record for doubles last year before he got hurt.
Let's take a look at this pitch to Ken Griffey Jr. Remember, he had pounded him inside. Now, this is supposed to be a splitter. Look where it's moving away. It's not a bad pitch. The ball fools Griffey. Now, watch, he's fooled a little bit. He just extends out a little bit more, and he just gets enough of it. I mean, this is a homer-friendly ballpark, and he gets it just over the right field wall.
It's the 22nd 2-homer game for Ken Griffey Jr. Of course, the only guy not impressed with all this is a guy deep down on the Yankee bench, Mark Whitten, who says, okay, let me see you hit 4. He's one of the few that has. Just misses up top and outside. Edgar Martinez, 2-2. Edgar last year, 52 doubles. Level out of play on the right field side.
I've always felt to be a good hitter, you either had to be strong or you had to be quick. Ken Griffey Jr. is both quick and he's strong, and that's one of the reasons that he hits so many home runs. A lot of your other sluggers in this league aren't that quick. They're just strong. You take Frank Thomas. He has a longer swing. He's very strong.
In the hole, Duncan can't get it. Base hit Martinez. So all this with 2 outs. The close call at first that Alex Rodriguez beat out. The homer to Griffey and the single to Edgar Martinez. And that'll bring up Jay Buhner.
Well, Edgar Martinez is just a great hitter. This pitch is a fastball away, and he just shoots it in the hole to right field. And make no mistake about it, it helps, to hit on AstroTurf. You see he's going that way all the way, and he shoots it through the right side for a base hit.
struck out in the first inning. He's a Texan that now calls Seattle home. Love him up here. It's a unique batting stance, doesn't he, Joe? I mean, there are others that do that sort of stance. Wide open until the pitch is on the way.
Well, he's a little typical of, the modern hitter who kind of dives into the ball. He starts open and he closes and goes into the ball. You want to keep the front side in, and a lot of hitters do that. They actually dive into the plate.
1-2 now to Buhner with Martinez at first. Here's David Cohn. He pitched 100 pitches late last month in one of his late outings in Florida. But 68 here in the third inning is not what he, Mel Stottlemyre, nor manager Joe Torre had in mind.
And except for the second inning, I mean, he has really kind of struggled with his location, and he's changed his release point several times, trying to find his rhythm.
Big roar, but I think he got under this just a little bit. Bernie Williams in center field makes the play. So a major league flyout, but a major league home run earlier by Griffey. 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, a 3-run third. And David Cohn and the Yankees are behind 4-2 after 3.
The $5 bill, so many nicknames. The Fiver. They get to go out and play.
True Value, proud sponsor of opening day and yards everywhere.
This is your last. The Mariners lead the Yankees 4-2. Pair of homers for Ken Griffey Jr., a solo home run for Russell Davis. Here's a man that knows something about home runs, Cecil Fielder, to lead off against Jeff Passero. Now, Fielder, when he in Yankee Stadium, the last game of the 1990 season, hit homers number 50 and 51. At the time, became the 11th major leaguer to hit 50 home runs. Albert Bell became the 12th a couple years ago. Here's David. Many an all-star pitcher had given up home runs to Junior Griffey. But where I was going with this was 2 more, of course, hit 50 last year, and Mark McGwire and Brady Anderson. So we've had 3 guys hit 50 home runs in the last 2 years. With the smaller parks and the stronger hitters and the question of the ball and everything else. Is this a year we see Roger Maris's record in jeopardy, Joe?
I still believe that it's so difficult to get to 60. I mean, difficult to get to 50 as well, but 60 is just another plateau, and once you get to that point, the pressure starts to mount, and the pitchers start to be a lot more careful than they were before, and you may end up with walks every other at bat. I just think it would be difficult for anyone to hit 60. I do believe that you'll probably see someone hit 50 again.
I mean, you have really a lot of guys that can do it, and of course this lineup here in Seattle with Griffey and Buhner, they don't bat back-to-back, but Frank Thomas, Albert Bell batting back-to-back. McGwire and Canseco, if Jose stays healthy and Mark stays healthy, back-to-back. You know, when Maris did it, he had Mantle behind him. He was seeing the pitches, 61 and 54. When Ruth hit 60, he had Garrett behind him. I mean, so they're seeing the pitches in the 3-hole. Cecil saw a tough pitch right there from Passero, and he will K. So just interesting bunch of guys hitting back-to-back. Maybe that'll help a run at 60. Sunset in Seattle, and the Marlins got off on the right foot. They beat the Cubs in one of our games in our trilogy today. That's our early game tomorrow night with Gary Thorne and Dave Campbell. Joe and I will be back here for the Yankees and Mariners, our late game tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Baseball, 7:30, 10:30. Look at the Puget Sound and the surrounding waterways here in Seattle. Had a nice day out of it today, Joe. Lots going on here in town. As former Mariner Tino Martinez looked at ball 1. The Sonics are at home tonight against the Lakers. The Counting Crows are playing at the Paramount later tonight. I mean, this stuff happening here in Seattle tonight. And I hope this game gets over in time. Maybe we can sneak into the County Crows. Maybe. I'm talking about a 5-hour game. It's okay. 5 hours, we can still make it. They're not going on till 9 or 9:30.
I'd rather see the Sonics.
Well, that game's happening now, so you won't. Here's a long drive by Tino Martinez. Curving foul.
And you could hear his teammates saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. They do not want him to run into that wall down there, as he was quickly running out of room. That's Tinsley in left field, and they were helping him out. You're right. We have microphones everywhere.
This is really very scary. This is like KGB baseball.
And you can hear him, Lee Ho. Whoa, whoa.
Wayward Ho. I think it's a sailing term here in Seattle, which would fit. You know what I miss? That we don't have the distances in fathoms anymore. Back in the old days, they used to have not only feet down the line and in center field, but they used to give it in fathoms, which is what, 6 feet or whatever it is. Right? It was how many a fathom there are. So, you know, all the voters are going to be all over me. I believe the fathoms.
Well, I'm a baseball analyst.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what you're asking the wrong guy.
I can't believe I brought that up, and I forget. Nobody here is bailing me out here. We got 12 people. Half of them live in Seattle, and nobody is explaining to me how long a fathom is.
I know what 250 means. I know what 300
is. Is it 6 feet? Didn't I get it right? 6 feet. That's what we're going with. Well, the fathoms are no longer up anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. I can't fathom that discussion here these last couple of minutes. Oh, man.
I liked your 60 home run discussion better.
I know you did. So did I.
I understood that one.
I could fathom that discussion.
I understood that one.
You know what might help, Joe, if we get back to that, is that several players are in the hunt for it. It's not one guy chasing a ghost.
Yeah.
I'll give you an amazing stat, and there's Pissarro again with his 5th assist of the night to retire Tino Martinez. This is hard to believe that Roger Maris's record has stood for longer than Babe Ruth did. I mean, Ruth did his in 1927. It stood for 34 years. Maris's now has stood, what, for 36. Right? This is the 36th year since 1961. You just feel that Ruth stood for like 100 years or something. But Maris has actually owned the record longer than the Babe did. Now, there's one man that's certainly gotten a good start tonight on maybe 61 home runs, or I don't know. As Peter Pasquarelli suggests, maybe 500 home runs before the All-Star break, and he's done.
Well, I will say that if someone's going to hit 60 home runs, it would probably be after there's a couple of more expansions where you have, you know, a few more pitchers with maybe a little less than Major League ability. Then I think you'll have an opportunity.
Well, that's next year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're going to have a couple more expansion teams moving in. You know, next year, of course, you're going to have the Diamondbacks and the Devil Rays, and even after that, you're going to continue. If you continue to dilute some of the pitching talents, you could have that happen.
Just wanted to get off that fathom discussion back to that.
And make no mistake about it, the hitters today are bigger and stronger than ever before.
Parks, a lot of them now getting smaller, the new parks. Especially in this league, the American League.
And the great thing is with the building parks to be more fan-friendly, so the fans are closer. And when you do that, obviously you condense the size of the stadiums. And the other part is, here you have a lot of foul territory to which to chase the ball, but in most parks now you do not have a lot of foul territory, which gives you more free at-bats where you would have been retired before you get another swing.
O'Neill draws a base on balls, and we draw Gary Miller.
Chris in the Metrodome with 2 aboard. Brad Radke, who allowed the most homers in baseball last year, does it again. Melvin Nieves hits one about 70 fathoms off the dome. 3-0. Tigers lead for Doug Brocail.
I want to see when one of these players hits at a nautical mile. Then that will really wake me up. Brocail and Radke, the starters in that. The Twins might be interesting this year. could be one of those teams that makes a move. Kansas City might be one of those teams we're not talking about that makes a move. Here's Darryl Strawberry. Consider, he wasn't here last year. I mean, he wasn't really in baseball last year at this time. Won the left field job flat out in Florida. Very hot spring. Facero ahead of him 0-2.
Well, the first time up, Facero came inside with the first couple of pitches and then struck him out with a breaking ball away. Now he comes back with 2 breaking balls away, 2 pitches away, and now he's got him set up if he wants to come off the plate inside. So he's pitching just the opposite of the first at bat. And there it is, inside. First at bat, he was in, and away, then went away. This time up, he's gone away, now in. So now, if you're the hitter, you don't know where he's going to go. And that's what he was trying to accomplish, that he opens up any part of the plate that he wants to use now.
Strawberry struck out in the second inning. Facero trying to do it again. And he did. Strike 3. Strawberry's gone. O'Neill is stranded. 4-2 Seattle.
Spike Lee for Nike and Copeland Sports.
Bottom of the 4th inning, the Mariners lead the Yankees 4-2, and Paul Sorrento will lead off. And Yankees, we love you, April Fools. They're not big Yankee fans out here. Tennis coming up Thursday and Friday at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. The 1997 Family Circle Magazine Cup. 9 of the world's top 10 women's tennis players scheduled to compete, including the new number 1, 16-year-old Martina Hingis. Family Circle Magazine Cup the next couple of days here on ESPN. And this is one of our new rip down the line, but foul by Sorrento. And you see at the bottom of your screen one of our new wrinkles this year. Our in-game box score. You're going to see it in the 4th inning, the 6th inning, and the 8th inning. If you're tuning in late, and hope that never happens again, by the way. If you do, as the team comes up in the 4th, you saw the Yankees in the top of the 4th, and there's the Mariners box score up to the moment. Here in the bottom of the 4th, again, we'll do it the 6th, we'll do it the 8th. We got miles an hour. We got microphones in the bullpen. We got microphones on the bases. We've hidden them in the lights. We have security check on every one of you watching this game tonight. I tell you, we've got you covered.
David Cohn's problem so far has been consistency. He'll make 1 good pitch, then 2 good pitches, and then a poor pitch. He's made a couple of good pitches here, and then he gets 1 up. And I think he's just not as consistent as he would like to be, or as consistent as he's going to be throughout the season. That may be the best splitter that he has thrown the entire ball game. That one really exploded down and away.
Sorrento will sit down. 5th strikeout for David Cohn here. 1 out in the 4th, and Dan Wilson up.
You know, when you look at the job that Joe Torre did last year, I mean, just fantastic. But I think his job is even more difficult this year, because what happens is his job now is to make sure complacency doesn't set in amongst his players. And it's very difficult to do, because every player's motivation is not the same this year as it was last year. Everyone wanted to win a world championship that had not done so. I mean, we talk about the Cecil Fielders and everyone that came over. They wanted to do whatever it took to win a world championship. And now that they've accomplished that, it's very difficult to keep that same intensity and motivation. But that's what the manager's job is there. He's going to have to keep these guys in the same frame of mind as they were last year, even though they're going to be able to look down and see that diamond on their finger. It's very difficult, and that's why it is so difficult to repeat, you know, in professional sports, because we saw a little of that this spring. John Wetland is gone because of money. Cecil Fielder was talking about leaving because of money. A lot of little things you see start to happen around the ball club once you win, because now we have a tendency to start thinking about, well, what do I get next, or what's in it for me? And that's the most difficult job, you know, a manager has, is to keep them motivated after they win a championship.
You think back, Joe, to 75, 76, right, when you guys did it with the Reds. Obviously, you had tremendous players.
Right.
But what else do you think back to that 76 season that that kept you guys going? Of course, you swept the Yankees.
Well, I think it was Sparky Anderson, but that was his job. You know, I think Sparky was able to make sure that everyone stayed focused and kept that one thing in their mind, and that was to get back to the World Series. And that's Joe Torre's job.
Wilson, and a shot to right. O'Neill is there. It falls out of his glove. Wilson will dig for two and get there. O'Neill almost made a great play. Instead, it ends up being a two-bagger. Unless they give him an error on a tough play, but I can't see that.
No, I don't think they're that tough here. That should have been a base hit. I mean, he made a good effort. He made a good attempt, and the ball just came out of his glove. And you see he's coming hard all the way, and he tries to make a little semi-dive there. He tries to stay down. It hits off the heel of his glove and bounces out. He thought he had it for a moment there.
Instead, it goes as a one-out double for Wilson, and Russell Davis, who homered to left his first time up, steps to the plate. Ball to left center field. Strawberry is there. Wilson halfway down will go back to second base. Well, we talked about repeating. Joe Torre, it's a tough job for him as manager. We asked Joe, what about it?
You can't live off last year, but you sure as hell want to remember last year. You know, guys who took a lot of abuse, David Weathers and Graham Lloyd, people like that who did so many good things in the postseason. You never wanted to forget pitching under pressure and how well they did. So I think it's wonderful. My job was easier in the spring because I didn't have to stand up in front of that group and convince them they could win, because they did.
No convincing job, but as you say, very... Obviously, he has a lot of veterans who understand the big picture, and really there's competition. There's Hayes and Boggs at third, there's Raines and Strawberry at left. Cecil wants to play some first. I guess his job is to make sure that the competition stays friendly and professional.
I think that's the point, stays professional there. I think, look, I mean, it's very difficult. We're all human beings. We all believe in our ability, especially if you're at the major league level. You think you can play here. You think you can perform here. You think you can perform as well as the next guy. So you want to have that opportunity. I mean, he has a problem right now. You have a guy like Tim Raines who knows that he can play. You have Darryl Strawberry who knows that he can play. They want to play. You have Charlie Hayes. He wants to play. You have Cecil Fielder. Everyone wants to play. And they know that they can play because they've all had success at the major league level. And last year they put their egos on the back burner. The point is, will they be able to do that again? And hopefully they will do that, and that's Joe Torre's job again. That's why they gave him the big bucks. That's why they gave him a 2-year contract.
Deserves it. My goodness.
Exactly.
You win as managing of the Yankees. You deserve a lifetime deal, which of course George Steinbrenner owning the club, I don't know what that would mean. Probably talking the impossible, but I mean, I don't think we have to speak about America fell in love with the Yankees last year and played with manager Joe Torre and the way they handled things. I mean, I know the Yankees are the most popular or best known team in all of baseball, maybe in all of professional sports. But this Yankee win last year was different. Their 23rd World Championship, 34th American League Championship, was different than any other way that they have won in the past. It's a whole different feel. Any of those teams, from the 20s and the 30s to the 50s and the 60s, to the back-to-back right after you guys won in the late 70s, 77, 78. This was a different feel. It was a feel-good. A guy like a Bernie Williams, quiet, Derek Jeter. I mean, the list goes on and on, as we talked about in the open, and Doc coming back, and Cole, Gooden, and of course, Joe and Frank Torre. It was feel-good, but you know what? They're behind 4-2 in the opening game of the season. Going to the fifth.
Junior!
My, oh my.
Get in here, Junior! Ooh, uh-oh. Okay, Junior, that's enough.
25th opening night here in Seattle. The Mariners with a pair of home runs from Junior Griffey, a solo shot from Russell Davis. Lead the Yankees 4-2, and we've got golf. We got everything for you. The tradition. Thursday and Friday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Two-time defending champ Jack Nicklaus leads a field that's expected to improve. Trevino, Floyd, Player. Meanwhile, Alex Rodriguez, first pitch. Off the bat of Mariano Duncan, throws out Paul Sorrento. Over to Paul Sorrento. Duncan's gone. And there's one down. Tradition golf. Thursday and Friday, 4 Eastern on ESPN.
If Duncan can reach the first pitch, he usually swings that.
Well, you knew I was reading a promo at the time, so obviously he went after the first pitch. Joe Girardi. Single. And then was picked off by Facero between first and second to end the second inning.
You know, Joe Girardi did a great job last year when he came over of leading this pitching staff. And he had to earn his stripes because when he came here, he was not the most popular guy because Mike Stanley was a very popular player here with the Yankees the year before, and he was let go. So when Girardi came over, I mean, he had to prove to the Yankees that he was going to be better for them than Mike Stanley. And he really did a great job with the pitching staff. I mean, he really helped Doc Gooden get back on track. He helped Jimmy Key. You know, he was really a great leader behind the plate for them last year.
Remember, Jim Leyritz, who is now also gone, was another favorite. Right. So he was battling him here, too. Girardi sits down. 2 up, 2 down against Facero. Here's Gary Miller.
Chris, in the Metrodome, more trouble for Brad Radke. At least this ball didn't go out of the park like Melvin Nieves' home run, but Tony Clark has hit him hard as well. A ringing double into the corner scores the former Astro, Brian Hunter, and Travis Fryman as well. It is a 5-0 lead. Brocale tossing the shutout.
The Tigers, I mean, they win it. The magic number is what, 161? Buddy Bell. Already if they win that game, he's my early choice manager of the year. Derek Jeter grounded a short. Tap back to Facero. Just to finish on Girardi a minute. It was quickly pointed out, he won with Don Zimmer as a rookie catcher with the Cubs in '89. He helped Colorado get to the postseason a couple years back. I mean, Don Zimmer on the Yankee bench says, you know what? I mean, people that look at him as a little guy. Yeah. He's won everywhere he's gone, and he won last year too. So that speaks volumes. So does that and there's baseball. Yeah. Opening day, I don't even want to guess for Don Zimmer. In the 40s? Got it. Right? 60s? A little flare. Buhner there in right field to make the play. A 1-2-3 inning for Facero. Junior Griffey has hit 2 home runs already. He's up third when we come back.
Well, there was one year where I almost lost the entire backyard to crabgrass, and I vowed.
Gets under this one. Does it have legs? Back to the wall is O'Neill. Bottom of the 5th inning. Junior Griffey has gone yard twice. He's due up third as the top of the order face David Cone, Cora, Rodriguez, and Griffey. Swing at the first pitch is Cora. Play and left, 1 up and 1 down.
The shortstop, Alex Rodriguez.
So Alex Rodriguez steps up, and they've announced the attendance tonight already. 57,586, which is the 3rd largest regular season crowd to see the Mariners in the Kingdom. Boy, just remember about 3 years ago, even until they made that run in '95, 2 years ago, this team was on the verge of leaving town. Everybody had, 10 years ago, had Seahawk jackets. Nobody wore Mariner hats or Mariner shirts. Now it's the other way around. In that championship, we were up here for that playoff game.
Great game.
That was great. Pitchers duel in the 7th inning between Johnson and Langston. Then Luis Sojo was sitting on the Yankee bench tonight. Had the triple, then he scored on the throw that made it 1-0 to 5-0. The little pool cue shot down the right field line. By the way, Sojo, another one that got a big ovation when the Yankees players were introduced before the game. 0-2 pitch to Alex Rodriguez. High and tight, backs him up.
he's pitched him away all evening. Now he comes inside off the plate. That's just to let him know that he's not going to let him dive out there. If he wants to go outside again, he's going to be able to go. So, I mean, that's just part of pitching.
The ball had hair on it. Well, what? 85 is our gun, but
I got to check the gun.
I don't know, but I want to check. We need to check about Junior Griffey. Homered in his first 2 at-bats to right center and then to right field. Gives him 5 home runs on opening day alone. 4 of them off pretty formidable pitchers. 2 here by Cone, 1 off Blyleven, 1 off Jack Morris.
Let's take a look at these. I'm going to show you why he was able to hit the home run in the 3rd inning. In the 1st inning, everything was perfect. I mean, the fastball right there, everything's perfect. That's balance. And because of his balance, he was able to hit the next one.
A little number that Jeter will have to hurry and gun him out at first base. Also swinging at the first pitch, Griffey with the number is thrown out. So he's human. 4-2 M's.
This is your last chance. Buick LeSabre.
Top of the 6th inning now. Junior Griffey's average fell to 667. With that little number, the Boggs, Williams, and Fielder. For the Yankees against Jeff Passero, who gave up the run in the 1st inning, run in the 2nd. Settled down nicely. Boggs swinging at the first pitch. Sorrento, Passero, 1 out.
Let's take a look at the Griffey split here. I'm going to try to show you why he was able to hit that 2nd home run again. And we talked about his balance. Now, when we talk about balance, we're talking about right here. See that straight line? That's the balance. Now, that enables him to hit the 2nd home run because he's actually fooled on this pitch. The 2nd home run, watch, he's fooled. See how? But because he still has that balance, it keeps the bat level through the strike zone longer. If he was leaning back, didn't have the same balance, he would have either missed the pitch completely or popped it up. But because of his balance, he was fooled on the pitch, but he was still able to get the ball out of the ballpark.
Bernie Williams showing bunt. Did not pull it back in time. More ball was over the plate. Doesn't matter. He said, wait a minute, I did pull it back. But Drew Cole behind the plate said no. He said, are you sure? Yes. And with a shrug, Bernie goes back to work. By the way, we were guessing on how many opening days for Don Zimmer. His 37th opening day as a player, coach, or manager. The more engaging folks to talk to around the back.
Yes, he is. And Dwayne Kuiper, former Cleveland Indian and Giants second baseman, used to say that he has a baseball face and a baseball body. That's Don Zimmer. And a great guy. I love to talk to Don. He has tremendous stories to tell you. Well, 37 years for opening days, you'd know he'd have a lot. But Joe Torre said he was invaluable last year to him, you know, as a bench coach. Things would be happening out there, and Joe say he may not notice something, and Don say, well, what about this? And obviously it'd get Joe's wheels to spinning, and he'd come up with the right formula. So a bench coach is very important to a lot of people, and Joe Torre used his bench coach very well last year.
Well, Zim survived the firestorm of the late 70s in Boston, so if you can survive that, you can survive anything, believe me. He's in New England, I know from whence I speak on that one. That was 49th year in professional baseball. 3-1 to Bernie Williams, who was doubled and flown out to right field, and the count is even at 3-2.
And we see Passero is almost just the opposite of Cone. You see he has settled down. He has his rhythm. He's moving the ball in and out, up and down. He's pretty much on his game right now.
Chopped it. We'll do it again. As we told you, Passero in his 4th straight opening day start. The last 3, of course, for the Expos. All those on the road. Cecil Fielder on deck. In the trade for the young pitcher Matt Wagner and the catcher Chris Widger in the offseason. The 22nd round pick by the Cardinals in '84 was Passero. Here's Bernie digging in. two-outers, Gary Miller.
Chris, an update from the Astrodome. Shane Reynolds trying to nurse a 2-1 lead, but he puts 2 on, and Javi Lopez gets sawed off, but it's in no man's land. When Craig Biggio makes an over-the-shoulder basket catch, Reynolds gets out of it. He's still up 2-1. Back to you.
All right, Gary, thank you. Long day in the baseball tonight desk for Gary. A labor of love.
I was going to say it has to be fun, though. This is opening day.
Cecil rips one to center field. Griffey over quickly. And Fielder with a 2-out single to left center.
Let's take a look at this graphic. It'll show you what I was talking about with Lucero, how he has settled down. He seems to be in his groove now. Look at that. The first time through the lineup, 4 for 8, 2 double sacrifice. Second time, 0 for 8. And Cecil Fielder just broke up the 0 for 4 with a single to center field. So he is really starting to get his game on and have complete command of all of his pitches. He threw an off-speed pitch to Bernie Williams, 3-2. That tells you that he has confidence in his off-speed stuff now.
That's the first hit he's allowed since the second inning. Breaking ball outside to Tino Martinez. As you look at the scores, Gary keeping us up to date. Lee Cat Stevens with a home run for Texas today. As Paul Clark, injured finger, did not play. Chicago from behind to Toronto. Padres from behind over the Mets at the Murph. Or it's called something else now, but it's the Murph to me. Pirates win at San Francisco. Tough play for Cora. The underhand over to Sorrento in time, and Tito Martinez is gone. Heading to the bottom of the 6th, 4-2 Mariners.
Relax. You are now entering.
4-2 Seattle, bottom of the 6th inning. Chris Berman along with Joe Morgan and our ESPN baseball crew, and our game of the week begins this Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. The Indians at Anaheim against the Angels. That'll be it, Joe. You won't see me ever again. John Miller will be back to announce with you, and we look at the Indians and they're in one of their new additions, Matt Williams. Funny, I ended up talking to Matty on the phone yesterday as I watched the in-game box score here. Bottom of the 6th, Edgar Martinez leads it off. He's 1 for 2. Cleveland played their last 2 preseason games, oddly enough, at Candlestick on Sunday and Monday. And I spoke with Dusty Baker yesterday, manager of the Giants. And Matty was in the office. I said, well, it's like 2 last looks at the stick before he moved on. We look forward to seeing the Indians on Sunday night. And the Angels, too. Foul ball down the right field side.
It'll be interesting to see as you see the
Josias Manzanillo
warming up.
Interrupt there.
That's okay.
I knew it would take a while to say the name, so I figured I'd jump in.
But I'm looking forward to seeing, David Justice, Marquise Grissom, Matt Williams, in the American League. I think Cleveland has really helped themselves with the addition of those players. When I was broadcasting for the Giants and Matt Williams came up, he had the best hands of any young player I'd ever seen. I mean, he was just a great glove man.
Skied in the infield. Everybody meets at the pitcher's mound. Wade Boggs gets it. That's kind of a scary play. The guys were just charging from the corners, Martinez and Boggs. It's tough to pick it up with the gray roof.
And then this 50th year of Jackie Robinson, so breaking the color barrier, that was a great play by Billy Martin. You see that sidearm breaking ball there from David Cone. You could see the hole in it, which means that, you can see the spin on it. And that's what a hitter looks for, to know what it's going to do, whether it's going to break or not. Remember Billy Martin ran in and made that catch in the World Series?
Yes. Didn't have a roof to contend with him, did he?
But, the thing that amazed me is the second baseman was the smart guy. He was the one that ran in and made the play. Everybody else was kind of just standing there watching it. And Billy said, I'll take it.
I don't let the pitcher make it.
But second baseman, they're like that.
I know that. Johnny on the spot, or Joe on the spot. People say, hey, the pitcher has a glove. Stand on the line and make the catch. I mean, it doesn't happen.
But isn't it funny? Because in Little League, the pitcher's always the best athletes. They make all the plays. They do everything. They get to the major leagues, and a lot of them will not make those plays. But there are a lot of good athletes who happen to be pitchers, and they could make the plays.
Count is 3-0 to Buhner. Here's the strike that Buhner thought he missed. Owen got the corner. There's probably make the play on the mound from center field. See, we've got Peter Pasquarelli and Marty Quality airing off up here. They're firing me numbers left and right. Marty points out, I won't take credit for it, Bob Pizzotto was the pitcher.
Oh, yeah?
Left-handed reliever on the play that Billy Martin made. Now, none of us knew that.
No, I definitely didn't know it. I just knew Billy made the play.
Now 3-2 to Buhner. Struck out, flew out to center field. Now he gets his base on ball, so he's aboard with one out. We talked about the plays that Junior Griffey can make in the outfield. He's a 7-time Gold Glover. Gary Miller wants to show us a play that another pretty good fielder has made.
Chris and Joe, you want to talk about making the play. It's a one-run game in the Astrodome. John Smoltz down, and Luis Gonzalez goes downtown. Now, Kenny Lofton broke into the major leagues in the Astrodome, and he does it no matter what uniform he's wearing, climbs that wall for the first time as a Brave. It's still a 2-1 game. Back to you.
All right, Gary. Remember that catch he made climbing the wall of the Tribe last year?
That may have been the best catch I've ever seen. And I thought the one that I saw Griffey make here was, but that was unbelievable last year when he jumped over the wall and caught that ball. Just perfect timing. But he said, hey, he was a basketball player in Arizona, so he said he knew how to make the plays.
I think he's pretty happy these last 24 hours with Lute Olson and the Arizona Wildcats winning it all. Congratulations to them. It's quite a run they had. That was no fluke. They knock off Kansas, Carolina, Kentucky. I think they have to make apologies for that. Congratulations, fellas. This opening day, I do want to mention something else. I don't think with his injury he was going to go to Baltimore. I don't know that for sure. But with the postponement of Baltimore, President Clinton was not at an opening day. We hope that the president is recuperating well. I know a little bit about his injury. He had 2 surgeries for the same thing in this last year. Look forward to talking with him sometime because I fell into a couple of pitfalls that I'd like him not to fall into. No pun intended. We hope the president is recuperating well, and I know he enjoys opening day at baseball. He's a big sports fan. If you're watching President Clinton, do the rehab, feel good about it, get back soon. Sorrento with a shot to right field. Not to imply that he's taking time off the job, by the way. But at any rate, I know he's watching on opening night, and we wish you the best. A speedy recovery. Although it won't be as speedy as you like.
You can see David Cone, again, you know, it looks like he's getting rhythm, then he'll lose it. Looks like he's getting on top of the game, then he loses it. And again, that shows what happens when you're coming out of spring training a lot of times. You're just not completely in control of your game.
Now Joe Torre, Mel Stottlemyre got on the phone just before we took the shot. A couple guys up throwing in the pen. Show that to you in a moment. Meanwhile, 2 on with 1 out and a 4-2 Mariner lead for Dan Wilson. Doubled his last time up, struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Wilson got off to a big start in April. Brian Boehringer and one of the new Yankees, left-handed, former closer for the Braves at one time, Mike Stanton. That's where it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, this is not a Mariano Rivera spot anyway. They don't have the lead getting into the 6th, 7th inning. But the bullpen eventually, when they have leads getting to Rivera, that'll be a question for the Yankees this year. Although Joe Torre says he has confidence in all the guys. Let's see, he doesn't have any set pattern right now. Buhner at 2nd, Sorrento at 1st. Scored since the bottom of the 3rd when the Mariners got 3. And it's 2-0. And you're right, Joey. Just when you think he has a handle, the phone looks like he's struggling again.
And the real key here is for Joe Torre to decide what he's going to do in this ballgame. By that I mean you want him to have enough pitches so that he does get better, and it's kind of like an extended spring training. You want him to throw a certain number of pitches. And I think that's what he's getting close to now, and that's why you see someone warming up. I think Joe Torre wants to go as long as he can with Cone so that he knows exactly, how he's feeling out there. He's throwing 109 pitches, and he's measuring his velocity and et cetera. So I think he just wants to decide whether this is extended spring training or whether he really has to get him out of there to protect him.
Misses. It's 3-1. So precarious spot right now for David Cone with 2 aboard. And Wilson, who had 18 home runs last year, able to hit it deep or certainly extra bases. Will do it again. 3-2. With Russell Davis, who homered in the 3rd inning to lead off the inning, on deck.
Last year, a lot of times in this situation, he would hit and run with Dan Wilson, especially early in the season because he was putting the ball in play. Not this time.
Little chopper, Boggs to second base to Duncan for the middle out. No chance for 2. Sorrento was gone. So 2 outs now, runners on the corners for Russell Davis.
Well, Boggs makes a good play, charges the ball right away, and gets it over to Duncan. See him? He charges the ball, makes up his mind he's going to second base, doesn't even have to look, and that's all they can get.
Of Inagata DeVita? It couldn't have been Iron Butterflies originally. That was not the original Iron Butterfly there. They know their music up here in Seattle. There's no question about that. And they know their
Phantoms.
The Fathoms. It might have been the Fathoms.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Kind of like our ESPN music track sometimes. We don't quite have the Eagles. We have the Falcons. We get close to these groups. Oh, high hard one, and Davis swings and misses. 0-2. Buhner at 3rd. Wilson at 1st. Mariners up by a pair, 4-2. They'd love to plate at least one more. They have the opportunity right here. Outside, Davis does not bite. It's 1-2. You think this is it for Cone no matter what?
Well, I think it's up to Torrey to decide again whether he wants him to go back out there or not. But I think David Cone feels this is it for him because he's given it all he's got right here. His last couple of pitches. And there's another one. See, he's just rearing back and letting it go. He's not trying to hit the outside edge or the inside corner. He says, I'm going to give him my best fastball, give him all I've got left, and try to get out of this jam.
Now, Coney is 2-0 as an opening day starter, so he's in danger of having that goose egg supplanted. One last year as a Yankee, one as a Royal, had no decision. His other opening day start as a Met. Wants to keep things close. Way outside, 2-2. Tonight, Pettit tomorrow in these 2 games. Wow, it's way outside again. I mean, this is not trying to have a nibble at something out of the strike zone. That's way out.
Well, I think that's why he went with the fastballs. I think he feels like he doesn't have command of the slider. That was supposed to be a slider. But I tell you what, he is a battler, and he will never quit. He will never give in. An excellent play there by Girardi just to keep the ball from getting past him and allowing the runner to score from 3rd. This will be a telltale pitch as far as I'm concerned. I think he has to just rear back and let it go and try to get it in the strike zone. We'll see if he feels that way. Yes.
He gets the outside corner. Strike 3. Strikeout number 8 for Cone. We played 6, 4-2 Seattle.
So you think you know all about...
In the 1st inning, home run Ken Griffey. In the 3rd inning, home run Ken Griffey. 4-2, the Mariners over the Yankees here in a sold-out Kingdome, 57,000 plus. And all of a sudden, I mean, these tickets are tough to come by here for the Mariners, and they expect just great things from them. Paul O'Neill steps in, do you have a choice? And you don't have to make one either, Joe. Mariners, Indians, Yankees, White Sox, maybe the Ventura injury maybe puts a little look at them. Anybody else? Do you see an advantage, Joe, as O'Neill hits the first pitch to Cora? And one up, one down for Jeff Facero. Do you have a team you're looking at a little more than the others?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't do that early in the season, Chris, simply because of the injuries and things that can happen. You know, the Mariners are not completely healthy. You know, Moyer now has an arm problem, and you mentioned the White Sox. They've lost Ventura, which is a big loss for them. But I think you have to, in my opinion, I wait 2 to 3 weeks just to see how the flow goes. And then I try to, you know, make a determination. But I would have to say that the teams I felt that helped themselves the most, the Indians, of course, helped themselves. I believe the Toronto Blue Jays really helped themselves when they added a guy like Roger Clemens. And of course, the Florida Marlins helped themselves. There are a lot of teams that have helped themselves, including the Yankees and also the Seattle Mariners. So, you know, I think it's a little early for me personally to make a decision or try to pick a winner. Because there are a lot of teams this year that I think have improved themselves and made themselves into contenders.
Now, Facero, I think he could be one of them. I mean, next to Randy Johnson's back, this may be the next key for this team, the guy on the mound right here.
Well, it doesn't matter because even if Randy is not back all the way, I think Facero, as I said before, can be a #1 pitcher on just about any staff.
Randy Johnson had started 5 straight opening days here for the Mariners. The last time he didn't do it was 1991. He will go Friday night here in Game 3 against the Red Sox. Actually, it was not really a ploy to start Facero. When the J.T. Snow incident happened, it was early in the game. Randy came out, and then it changed the rotation a couple weeks leading into opening day, and he slid into the 3 spot just because he didn't get his work in on that day. I mean, his importance, these numbers just say it all. When he's there, they almost win every time. And a ground ball out as Serretto tosses it over to Facero, and there's 2 down. Take a look again. Of course, 95, he was almost untouchable. 96, the few starts that he had, the 8 of them, 7-1. So, I mean, they say the back is fine. It could go out at any time, and we certainly aren't wishing that. If it doesn't go out, the Mariners are just infinitely better, obviously.
One other thing, Jeff Facero has averaged 7 innings in his starts over the last couple of years. I mean, that's amazing. You know, especially if you're Lou Piniella looking at what he had to do last year. But I tell you one thing, I really believe that the Mariners are going to miss Mike Jackson being in that bullpen this year because Mike could throw every day, helped, you know, Norm Charlton a lot. I mean, I think they're going to miss him, but they've improved themselves in just about every other way.
They're hoping that Ayala can be the setup man. He was out a lot last year, and they're hoping he goes into that role, Ayala to Charlton. Count 0-2 to Mariano Duncan. Facero was retired 14 of the last 16 batters. Giving up just 1 hit since the 2nd inning. I really like him, Facero, not just what he's doing tonight. He works inside, understands what he's doing, and he gets Duncan right there. 6 strikeouts for Jeff Facero. 7th inning stretch time at Seattle, who have a 4-2 lead.
So you want me to tell you about some of the things that are...
Now, New York, number 41, Brian Bowringer.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just singing along to the Kingsmen here at the 7th inning stretch. They're a local Seattle band who had a big hit Louie here in the 60s. I'm just singing along as I bring in Brian Bowringer. And we were right. That was David Cohn's last batter. So Bowringer will face Tinsley in the 9-hole, Cora and Rodriguez at the top of the order. I don't know. On Wednesday Night Baseball, we get cues. I don't know. Is this what happens? They did the big time. You're just not supposed to sing? Lee Tinsley is 2nd tour of duty as a Mariner. He was up for a while in '93 with Seattle, although most of that season he played with their then AAA club, the Calgary Cannons. Last year, of course, he played for Boston, and Bowinger gets him out 1-3. Let's head back east to Gary.
Chris, a pitcher's duel continues in the Astrodome. John Smoltz is down a run to Shane Reynolds, and so far his offense has only been able to provide him with that lone run. It still remains 2-1. The Braves running a Chipper Jones homer, but they're down by 1.
Old-fashioned pitcher's duel in the Astrodome. Astros have, of course, our director Mark Payton is hanging on every pitch of the Astros. Reynolds and Hampton, some young pitchers. Dueling Smoltz here tonight. So one out, and here's Joey Cora, who is 0 for 2 and a walk. Was out stealing on kind of an attempted steal in the first inning. Girardi gunned him out.
Well, it's registered as an attempted steal.
Yes,
anyway.
it is. Here is Bobby Ayala, or as we like to call him, one of the better nicknames sent in by a viewer, Bobby, we all live in Ayala Submarine. That's long and it's involved, but you know, it's opening night. We have to trot some of these marginal ones out again, Joe.
Did you get that off the net?
No, I don't. The net? The only net I'd get it off is if I'm playing tennis. The net. No, I've yet to enter the 90s as that goes.
Okay.
I'm still singing 60s tunes and trying to figure out the fathoms. You know that. Now Boggs in. Case Cora wants to drop one down. Mariners 1 in the first on Griffey's solo homer. 3 in the third. Solo homer by Davis. 2-run homer by Griffey. Nice play by Derek Jeter. He is so smooth and dug out by Tino Martinez. 2 out.
Tell you what, Rodriguez and Jeter, the one thing that they have in common, shortstops, because they're kind of different the way they go after the ball. They have strong arms. I mean, Jeter showed his arm strength when Rodriguez hit the ball off of Boggs' hand. Now watch this. Cuts it off perfectly. You can't run away from the ball on AstroTurf. You have to pick a point and run to that point. And he made a good play, got it. Once he catches it, you're pretty much out. He's got such a strong arm.
Strike one to Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter. Renteria at Florida, Ordonez with the Mets, Grzelcyk with Montreal, and young Alex Gonzalez with Blue Jays. These guys, we're going to be marveling at them for years to come. This year, it's the crop of third basemen, or the veterans at third. And Cal moving to third, Matty Williams moving to the other league at third, and the youngsters like Scott Rockin' of the Phillies, and Kevin Iron Ory of the Cubs. I mean, this third base is the position this year of the new ones, and the shortstop, you just marvel at. Just marvel at them, don't you, Joe?
And the toughest position usually to field with young players is the shortstop position. That's a very difficult position to learn to play very quickly. I think the toughest positions to break in, with your young players is catching and playing shortstop, simply because, catcher has to handle all types of pitching and the veterans. And shortstop is just a very demanding position.
And surely one of the unsung members of your great teams with the Reds was a pretty fine shortstop, wasn't he? David Concepcion?
He was a great shortstop. Yep. He was overshadowed by a lot of the other players, but he was a great player.
Full count now from Bowinger to Rodriguez with Ken Griffey in the hole. Ken Griffey on deck, I mean. Got my baseball parlance down. I mean, it is opening night. I mean, I know all these terms. I just haven't used them for 6 months. To Jeter. To Martinez. Rodriguez is gone, and Griffey will lead off the 8th. As we head to the 8th inning, the Mariners continue to lead the Yankees 4-2. Yes, when we are done. Sports Center is next. We got a couple innings to go. The Mariners lead the Yankees 4-2 here in the top of the 8th. On opening night, 57,000 plus here at the Kingdome. And that'll be it for Jeff Passero. And in comes setup man for Norm Charlton. I'll try it again, Joe. Bobby, we all live in Ayala Submarine. He's intriguing. 61 Ks in 67 1/3 innings last year. Missed a lot of time or injury. But he could be one of the key performers for the Mariners this season. Wednesday night baseball. The Cubs and Marlins, the early game at 7:30. And the Yankees and the Mariners. Joe and I will be back at 10:30. To Sorrento. One up, one down. Girardi is gone.
Shortstop, Derek Jeter.
So Derek Jeter steps up. Jeter is 0 for 3 tonight. With that big windup, so there's a little dip, not only righty-lefty, but just a whole different style than Passero.
Right. You know, we talked about Rodriguez and maybe having a career year last year, and what was he going to do for an encore. Kind of similar situation for Derek Jeter. I mean, he was Rookie of the Year last year. He wins the World Championship, and of all places, New York. What do you do for an encore? And in talking to the coaches over there, they say he has kept his head on straight, and he's a much better prepared player this year than even last year. He has not let his success go to his head.
Sawed off to Alex Rodriguez. Over to Sorrento, and there's 2 down.
I just marvel at those guys' arms. I mean, they get the ball and they just snap it, and it's like it's on a string across the diamond. Both of them have just tremendous arm strength. There you see what Passero did before he was taken out. 15 of the last 17 batters. That's an excellent line there for Passero. You have to remember he's pitching for a team that averaged 6.2 runs a game last year.
He knows that stat,
yeah.
by the way. He couldn't wait to point that one out when we talked yesterday. Bogsy to the left side, a base hit, his second of the night, and now one shy of 2,700.
And you see Piniella shaking his head. He said, well, what can you do? That was a good pitch, down and away. He actually looked like he wanted to check his swing, but he slapped it through the left side. Watch this. Now, he looks like he wants to stop his swing. See right there what he does. It's a half swing. Watch this. See, he doesn't complete the swing. He just kind of guides it through the left side. They used to say about Rod Carew, they say Rod sometimes looked like he'd just catch it on his bat and throw it where he wanted it to go. He was that good.
Well, there's the Band-Aid to cover the 47 stitches he got off the fungo and the bad high. He never saw it come. He sounds like a hockey goalie that was screened and never saw it. I was at the new ballpark there, Turner Field in Atlanta. Boggs got hit over the eye in both days there, and I think that's Atlanta's way of getting back at him for that bases-loaded walk that he got in that wild 4th game in the World Series. Of course, while he was taking infield, it wasn't something the Braves did. Misconstrued the comment. Norm Charlton is up, and this is a lefty who is a 10-year minor leaguer, Greg McCarthy, from Shelton, Connecticut, we should point out, that has come and made a real impression on the Mariners in the spring, and Lou thinks he can really be a situational lefty for him, although Charlton is the closer. Count is 2-0 to Bernie Williams. There's McCarthy, who in his 10th year came up finally last season for a little bit. Had 90 strikeouts in Tacoma a year ago in 68 1/3 innings. So just keep your eye on him these 2 nights if we see him. While Ayala doing what he can do, be wild.
That has always been his MO. He'll come in, throw 6 straight great pitches, and then throw 6 poor pitches, miss the strike zone, and he can miss it by a big margin sometimes. But that's because of his motion. I mean, he's all over the place with his motion. High leg kick, arms whirling, you know, a lot of moving parts there.
Just a note on the Yankees, the 2 nights here that they play the Mariners, they're seeing Pissarro and Scott Sanders, 2 pitchers they've never seen before in this 2-game set. I mean, it's kind of odd. You figure out, we know Randy Johnson, we know the other guys, but not the case. Williams hits this one a long way to left, but Lee Tinsley camps under it and makes the play, and the Yankees are gone here in the 8th. The Mariners heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. Can Junior go yard for the 3rd time? We'll find out right away as Murderer's Row is up.
Let's see. I dropped off Jason to soccer practice.
Down and just kept going downtown. Chris Gomez over the Palms, followed by Ricky Henderson, pinch hitting yard on Pete Harnish, who gave up 3 consecutive home runs. Kilby Ovadas makes it back-to-back Jack. 11 runs in the 3rd inning, tied an all-time record against the Mets.
Quite a day at San Diego for the Padres, who take that defending NL West crown seriously. Here's a man that knows about pitching in postseason baseball. Mike Stanton comes now to work the 8th inning, and the first man he will face is Ken Griffey Jr. Stanton could play a big role for the Yankees this year, Joe.
Well, one of the things about Stanton, though, is that he doesn't really cause the left-hander a lot of problems. He's got to get you out with his stuff, and it really doesn't matter whether you're left-hander or right-hander because he doesn't have a funky motion or anything. And that's not one of his better pitches.
No,
it's basically hard stuff. Fastball. He runs the fastball in on the left-handers, and he'll throw the fastball away. But he throws basically hard stuff.
Junior has gone yard in the 1st and 3rd inning. The record for home runs in an opening day game is 3. Could we see a record tire here? He took the big swing, but it's just the shallow center. Williams coming on, calls off Jeter, and there is 1 out. So unless he gets another at bat, the record held by George Taco Bell in '88 and Carl Tuffy Rhodes in '94 for the Cubs is safe with 3. And here are the 2 homers, right center and then right field on a ball that he kind of was fooled on, as you pointed out, Joe.
Well, he was definitely fooled on the pitch, but he kept his bat level through the hitting zone, and he got enough of it to get it out. And you can see the respect they have for Martinez and for Griffey. They brought Stanton in just to pitch to Griffey.
Taco and Tuffy are still in the books. Stanton out. Former Mariner Jeff Nelson in. The wheels beat churning in the Northwest.
What's on Paragon? Ben Chaplin has...
New pitcher is Jeff Nelson. The batter is Edgar Martinez. Nelson, of course, a member and a member of the Mariners, a teammate of Martinez's until last year, when he went over in the Tino Martinez trade to the Yankees. Russell Davis and Sterling Hitchcock, which has now become Scott Sanders. That being said, Nelson works quickly. Ground ball to Jeter. Over to Tino, and Edgar is gone. 2 out here in the 8th. And Joe working his bullpen here and getting the results he wants.
Well, I think he wanted to make sure he had a left-hander for Griffey, and he definitely wanted a right-hander for Martinez. But Jeff Nelson's a little tough on the right-handers because, you know, he drops down, he gives you a lot of arms, knees, and elbows, and it's a little difficult sometimes to pick the ball out of all of that. Plus, he has pretty good stuff.
Nelson had control problems last year during the regular season, certainly early on, but 3 games in the World Series against Atlanta. Remember what he did, 4 1/3 inning pitch. He gave only 1 hit. The middle relief of the Yankees, Graham Lloyd and Weathers and Nelson really did the job.
I think Graham Lloyd showed more intestinal fortitude than anybody last year. I mean, you know, they were booing him all season long, and then all of a sudden he got his act together and he pitched great under those circumstances in New York. I mean, he deserves a real pat on the back for what he did last year.
And a great baseball nickname from the Field of Dreams, Moonlight Graham Lloyd. It's a new one.
Okay. I didn't hear that one. You're right. I hadn't heard that one before. I'm going to give you another tough one here. And Bob Watson deserves a pat on the back for the trade that he made and sticking with it and saying, hey, I made the right deal and proved to be a world champion. Give me a Bob Watson.
Well, Bob, that's elementary, my dear.
Okay, I got that one. I can handle that.
No, that was a layup.
Okay, I was going to say I can handle that one.
That was just a fungal. I mean, that was just an easy way to put it in baseball terms. You can fathom that one.
Okay.
Bouncer to Bonds. Hurries it over to Tino Martinez, and the Mariners are gone. Can they nail it down? Cecil Fielder, Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill. Coming up. ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Red Roof Inns. Get $5 back each night you stay at Red Roof Inns. Call 1-800-THE-ROOF for details. And fittingly, there is a view from the roof as we head to the ninth inning. Cecil Fielder, and they leave Ayala in, Joe, obviously, the righty to face the righty. But then with Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, and Darryl Strawberry up, I would imagine we'll see Norm Charlton.
Yeah, but I want to go back to the last pitch of the last inning. It was 3 balls and no strikes to Bernie Williams, and they let him swing away, you know, with Cecil Fielder on deck. That surprised me a little bit in that from the left side, Bernie is not really, you know, the home run hitter that he is from the right side. But it tells me that Joe Torre wants his guys to be aggressive, and so he let Bernie Williams swing 3-0, even though, you know, he was the tying run. But Cecil Fielder was on deck.
What are you telling me? The momentarily he blanked out, Joe? If it was anyone other than Cecil, that might have been an adventure, but it's Sorrento to Ayala, and there's one out here in the Yankee ninth. A reminder, the Cubs and Marlins at 7:30 tomorrow. We're right back here for Game 2 of this series. Andy Pettit and Scott Sanders, Yankees Mariners at 10:30 Eastern. Lou Piniella on his way to the mound. Norm Charlton on his way to the mound. It'll be Charlton to try and nail it down for the M.
This is your last chance. Buick LeSabre, the car you made the best-selling full-size automobile 5 straight years and counting, is returning the favor. Only until April 15th, buy or lease a new LeSabre, and Buick will give you free gas for a year. $800 worth of free gas, compliments of LeSabre, the car you put on top. Talk about peace of mind. See your nearest Buick dealer for details now.
Pitchers duel, the only primetime game in the National League. Billy Flamethrower Wagner coming on to get Mike Mordecai with some high cheese. And they hold on for Shane Reynolds, and Larry Dierker's debut is victorious one. Astros win a pitchers duel 2-1. 5-3, the Tigers are holding on the bottom of the 8th at the Metrodome. Full details on SportsCenter. Back to our game.
All right, Gary, thank you. So Norm Charlton is in with 1 out in the 9th, and the base is clear. He's Lou Piniella's guy, was with him in Cincinnati, obviously, and he's the closer here, and he'll face former Mariner Tino Martinez. Whoa. And Norm says,
Well, this is a welcome back Tino. Fastball up and in. And you can see this is way off the plate inside. Now, that's what makes you mad as a hitter. One goes up and in, the next one's right on the outside edge.
Yeah, there it is. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Not now, though. Well, it looked like we were going to have a scoring fest the way this started out, Joe. 3 Mariner home runs, 2 by Griffey. Ripped down the right field line. This will rattle around in the corner. Buhner has the big arm, and down by 2. Martinez was not even thinking about gambling.
Tell you what, from a hitter's perspective, though, that shows you what it takes to be a big league hitter. The first pitch up and in almost hits you in the head. Next pitch is on the outside edge. And then the third pitch, you rip it down into the corner. I mean, that tells you something about Tino Martinez. And, I mean, he turned on it, too. All the hitters will give him a clap for that.
Yeah, Buhner a strike to second base. So now the tying run is up in the person of Paul O'Neill, who is 0-5 for 5 lifetime against his ex-mate at Cincinnati, Norm Charlton.
Well, you know, Charlton, he was used a lot last year, but he really struggled down the stretch. I mean, he doesn't have the overpowering fastball. He had the great splitter, the overpowering fastball before, and he started to struggle a little bit. He just got people out by knowing how to pitch and just being mentally tough out there. And we're going to have to see how he adjusts this year, or if he has that overpowering fastball again. There's the splitter.
Well, he's painted the outside corner twice.
And there you see Paul O'Neill, 239 against lefties, 338 against righties. So obviously he prefers to get his at-bats against right-handed pitching.
Much of the crowd on their feet, hoping for a strikeout. Didn't exactly paint the corner with that one. It was more like finger paint. O'Neill is 0 for 2 in a walk. 2 infield ground out. Little base hit to right field. Martinez to second, O'Neill to first, and now the Yankees have the tying runs aboard in the 9th. I mean, are we seeing already in the 9th inning a microcosm of last season?
Well, again, you know, in the past, he threw a good fork ball away for strike 2. He missed with a fork ball. In the past, he would come back with a high fastball. He went away again with a fork ball. And again, that maybe tells you that he doesn't have the confidence yet that he used to have in his fastball, because a good high fastball then was probably a better pitch than the fork ball.
So they bring Charlton in to face the 2 lefties, Martinez and O'Neill, who promptly single. Here's the 3rd lefty, Darryl Strawberry. Pat Kelly will run for O'Neill as the tying run, potential tying run. Strike on the outside corner to Strawberry. Darryl is K'd twice and grounded to first base. He's yet to get the ball out of the infield. Jeff Pissarro looking at his chance for a first win in the American League, first win as a Mariner, but hoping it will hold up. Just missed the outside, 1-1. Retired 15 of the last 17 batters, by the way. 1 hit since the 2nd inning. He certainly showed Seattle fans what they hoped to see. Can Charlton close it out? Outside, 2-1. Mariano Duncan on deck, Girardi to follow.
Good fastball and good location there. Fastball back inside after he's thrown a couple of pitches away. But this is right in under the hands, and that's where you want to pitch Strawberry, right in under the hands.
Crowd on their feet. Little chopper, can they turn it? Carter, Rodriguez, Sorrento. Double play. The Mariners win it 4-2. Charlton nails it down for Jeff Pissarro. The Mariners used long ball, and they used excellent starting pitching.
Well, you're right. The long ball. We talked about how exciting this offense was. I was thrilled tonight. Good ball game for the Mariners.
So the Mariners start the 97 season with a win. Jeff Pissarro impressive on the hill. Junior Griffey with a pair of homers. Russell Davis also went yard. Pissarro over Cone. We'll be back tomorrow night. For Joe Morgan and all of us, I'm Chris.